Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I hope you're well for this Sunday. I am just fine. Gold obviously didn't come into play yesterday as it's off. It takes the weekend off. They'll be back tonight with China pounding everything. Interesting NFL draft. Tremendous basketball picks. Holy shit. I'm pretty good at this stuff. I fucking hit the Memphis Oklahoma City game getting 10 points and they lose by 2. Hit Cleveland to win, hit Golden State, and the only loser was the San Diego at home, laying a feud to Denver. Hey, David, how are you, sir? Happy Sunday. So I guess we can start in basketball. Now, the key's all psychological. I know no players on these teams. Now, football, I know every player on every team. This I don't. And, oh, fuck, just a second. Forget it. I thought I left my pita on the frying pan, but no, I got it. Raiders got Cam Miller. Who the hell's Cam Miller? Is he that Division II quarterback from Memphis? Is he any good? Could have had Dylan Gabriel. And then I didn't understand Cleveland taking Prime Jr. after taking Dylan Gabriel. Now, I know they don't have anybody. I think, don't they have, is Winston still on the team? Or Joe Flacco? So I didn't really get, if you didn't like Gabriel, why'd you draft him? If you did like Gabriel, then why did you draft Prime Jr., who apparently is really bad and needs, at best to be a third stringer. I don't get the pick at all. They have a lot more needs. They're not a very good team. And Nick Chubb left. They did take 2 running backs. So they took 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, and a good defensive tackle. They do have Garrett, and, we'll see. But you need the quarterback. Tommy Melton, they got 2, these are guys from Montana and like North Dakota State. These aren't real quarterbacks. These are Division II quarterbacks. There's a problem in Oakland that they can't scout players. In other words, you could have had Dylan Gabriel, and you take these 2 bums from Division II that you could have got as a free agent. Not only one of them, but 2 of them. They might be good in Montana, but as we saw with that guy on the Eagles, he sucks. What is he going to do when he would play Georgia or Oklahoma or Oregon, Texas? The guy wouldn't complete 5 passes. So you're going to bring him into the pros? That's why you've got to go. That's why when I bitch about drafting defensive players from Georgia, they've been there, they've done that. They're in the SEC. They're used to the big game. They go to Tennessee, they go to Alabama, they go to Florida. They're used to it because you're asking them to play in the pros. So I don't know. We'll take a look at those. Let me quickly do basketball. So Cleveland wins 124-87. We got Cleveland minus, I think it was 10. They're up 3-0. We play Memphis plus 10 against Oak City. Do or die game for Oak City. For Memphis, Oak City's relaxing. They're up 3-0. They don't care if they win, but if they do, they do. And they probably did it at the end and won 117-115. That was probably the easiest pick of the day. We lost with Denver, San Diego, but because San Diego was up 2-1, Denver kind of that was a mess. I should have had Denver there because they really couldn't go down 3-1. And then Golden State, Houston tied at 1, and Steph Curry at home, and he's going to win, and he did 104-93. So we covered. So we go 3-1. A little miss on the San Diego Denver game, but okay. Let's look at today. We've got 4 games. We get the Knicks at Detroit. Now the Knicks lead 2-1. Detroit's actually a 2.5-point favorite. Detroit's got their back against the wall. But does that mean anything? Can they do it? I would like them as a dog. 2.5-point favorites. The last game they lost by 2. They were getting 1. We won with it. We had the Knicks minus 1.5. This one, I would think Detroit wins. Detroit can't go down 3-1 and go to New York and it's all over. Detroit will play a good game. Now, they showed you last game they can play them fairly decently. So I would take Detroit here, lay the 2.5. They can't go down 3-1. The Lakers and the Minnesota Lakers. Minnesota's 2.5, 208. Minnesota leads 2-1. You'll get a good effort from LA. Is it good enough? I don't know that LA matches up very good in this. This is a tough one because this is one you really don't play, or you play LA. It's hard, but I like Minnesota. I think they're the better defense. This will be like your San Diego Denver one where the team who needs it wins. And I think I would think the Lakers will, must win. They can't go down 3-1. So I think you got the Lakers in 2.5. I don't love these games because the teams I like, I can't bet because I prefer the Knicks and Minnesota, but I can't bet them today. Boston at Orlando. Boston leads 2-1. Boston 7.5, 198 at Orlando. Look for Orlando to play their best game. They can't go down to 3-1 and go back to Boston. However, do I like Orlando like I liked Memphis yesterday? It's different when it's 3-0. You kind of coast as you're the team with 3 because you go, we'll lose. We'll beat them at home. They happen to get the win. Here, Boston, it's 2-1. So Orlando has won, and getting 7.5. Yeah, again, it's kind of like you. I prefer Boston, but you got to kind of bet Orlando because they're down 2-1. They have to win the game. And then Indy, Milwaukee. Indy leads 2-1. This would be our lock. Milwaukee minus 4.5. They have to win. They blew them out in game 3 after losing the first 2 in Indy. So I like Milwaukee here. Now, this is the one that makes sense. Milwaukee has to win at home. The others, Detroit, kind of the same. Minnesota does not have to win. They got the 2-1 lead. And Boston and Orlando has to win. Boston doesn't have to win. So it's a very, very, it's a tough day because the teams I'd rather bet on, I really can't if I go with my script. So it's Detroit, it's the Lakers, it's Orlando, and it's Milwaukee. The big game would be Milwaukee. All right, let's go to Major League Baseball. I was hot yesterday. All right, so go to the scoreboard. I had a great day. If I can get to it. All right. We got Cleveland over Boston. Cleveland wins 5-4. We have Detroit. They win 4-3. That was a 2-star. Minnesota under 8. They win 5-1. We have Milwaukee. They lose to the Cardinals 6-5. We have Cincinnati as our 2 unit. It wins 6-4. We have Philly over 7.5. I watched that game. They won 10-4. We have Oakland over 9. The White Sox win 10-3. Another winner. We have Texas. Texas loses to the 49ers. Fucking Joe Montana. That's a loser. We got the NY Mets, and they win 2-0. We got Detroit over 8. They score 8. We got Boston over 8. They win 7-3. We have Atlanta. We didn't play KC Houston. We couldn't figure out. We have Atlanta. They win 8-7. We have San Diego over 7. With all that hitting and against this shit pitching, Ryan Peepop 1 hit. They get 1 run. I lose that one. Pitt over 8. The Dodgers beat them 8-4. And Seattle over 7.5. They win 14-0. They get 2 touchdowns. What a fucking day. What? 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 6-2, 7-2, 8-2, 9-2, 10-2, 11-2, 12, 12-3. That's absurd in baseball. That. And on my picks, Detroit, winner. Cincinnati, winner. Philly over 7, winner. Detroit over 8, push. So I go 3-0 basically on my picks. What a good day. So once you just establish the theory of the thesis of we're going to bet on teams that can hit, and we're going to bet on the pitcher's ERA, you're consistent with them. You bet that every game, today, tomorrow, the next day. As we get more games, the pitcher's ERA becomes better, like Verlander and Dylan Cease and these guys. Chris Sale, if he wakes up, and you just keep doing it. And yes, sometimes they lose, but more than that, they're going to win. Then you look at the team batting, and it's the same thing. Once you realize, we had some overs, Pitt over 8, we looked, and they have 4 hitters, and the Dodgers have 4 hitters, and we went Oakland over 9, and, so you start seeing they got 4 or 5 hitters that can hit, and you start going according. You start looking at it based on the averages, they should hit, but not in one game. So if I bet Pete Rose to hit, 6 games out of 7, he's going to get a couple hits. Then the one game he won't. But you just keep playing him in overs or whatever, on the Phillies with Mike Schmidt and all that stuff. So we'll look into Tommy Melted and Cam Miller. Well, thank you, David. I try to do it the way I'd want to see it. I know sports better than anybody, and I know economics better than anybody, as I can see the way these clowns are. But I try to present it at economics. I try to present at a very easy level that you can do it. I was talking to my friend about that, and I said, I do it at a 5th grade level because that's how I taught my girls softball how to hit and how to throw. I had to get to their level, and when I explained it, that they could understand it. So I carry that into everything. I must explain it so you understand it. And I get very few questions of, what are you talking about? Or I'm an idiot. I get very few of that. I know I have guys that don't like me because of Bitcoin, and I'm just trying to help you. I don't own it. I can tell you about Mario Lemieux cards and Hank Aaron cards, and I can tell you about gold and silver because that's what I own. I cannot tell you about Bitcoin because it's not real. All I can do is warn you that it's a Ponzi. And I would have said the same thing. And in fact, I did say the same thing about Madoff, where it was a Ponzi scheme because you can't get 15% in a market that bears 5. It would be nice, but it's not possible. And everybody looked at me funny. And then at the end of the day, oh, yeah, it was a Ponzi scheme. Well, at the end of the day, so is Bitcoin. I can see it. You're caught up in the money and you don't get it. And I get that, but I'm not wrong. I wouldn't say something if I didn't know. And that's why I say it. But anyway, thank you, David. I appreciate it. Prophet, good morning. The draft is over, and overall, I have to give the Raiders a solid A. I wouldn't go that far, but it could have been an A+ if they had picked up Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, I didn't understand that. And I didn't understand then Cleveland taking Prime Jr. if they had Dylan Gabriel. You don't need two. You got a real good quarterback, Gabriel. It's like getting Penix, and then you get Prime Junior. Well, Prime Junior is a wasted pick. They need help, but they did have a good draft, Cleveland, I thought. But we're not big Cleveland fans. But I just didn't understand the two quarterbacks at the end. These little leaguers, I thought was ridiculous. David, Prophet Diller went to the Browns. Why the Browns have 5 quarterbacks? I get Gabriel. I don't get Prime, and I don't get Joe Flacco will be there. I don't. Do they still have Winston? I don't recall their roster. But Deshaun Watson, I guess you call, was one of their quarterbacks. He's not. He'll never play again. Prophet, I know the Raiders could have picked him up in the 2nd or 3rd round. No, for sure in the 3rd round. He didn't go to the 3rd round. Prophet, do the Browns really have 5 quarterbacks on their roster now? Well, one of them's Deshaun Watson. One of them's Flacco. The 2 they just got. And I want to say they have Mariota, I think. I think Winston moved on, but I think they have Mariota too. They got Pickett too. So maybe Deshaun Watson isn't one of the 5. Yeah, what are they doing? I think it's like Atlanta. They signed Kirk Cousins, not thinking they could get whatchamacallit, Penix. And then Penix fell in their lap. They had to take him. That's what they would have done had they known they were getting him, but they needed Cousins in case they couldn't get him. But once you fell in their lap, and here's the Bears with a shitty quarterback and a shitty coach, and they drafted like 2 more receivers. Like, what are they doing? They did get rid of Keenan Allen. They let him go. They got, DJ Moore, who's really good. Romo Doozy, who's not really good. And then you pick up a tight end. Well, they had tight ends. At the end of the day, they need a quarterback. It's amazing how many teams don't really understand they need quarterbacks, even though because they think they have it. Right? You got Dak Prescott, you got Trevor Lawrence, Tagovailoa, Jordan Love, Minnesota. You're going to go with J.J. McCarthy, who wasn't very good at Michigan. Cleveland had Deshaun Watson. Even Philly with Jalen Hurts, he's not it. You have very few really good quarterbacks in the league. And the teams just like Jacksonville, you got Trevor Lawrence. He stinks, but you can't analyze that he stinks for some reason because he's yours, and you'll have to admit you fucked up the pick. Tagovailoa stinks. Justin Herbert, I think, is good. Obviously, Mahomes. Obviously, Joe Burrow. Philly's okay because they have Barkley. They're more of a run play defense team. But who does Minnesota got? Nobody. Who does Green Bay got? Jordan Love is not it. Yet they think he is. But in the big games, didn't show up. Got hurt a lot. He's not it. I'm sorry to say. I watched him his last year at Utah State, and he was terrible. He had a good junior year. The coach leaves. The new coach comes in, and he's terrible. So you got to find the system that they ran as a junior to do it. And what's with Green Bay taking like 3 receivers? I thought they were loaded with receivers. All of a sudden, they draft 3 of them. Like, dudes, you still need defense. The Lions ate you up. All right. So let's get baseball, and then we'll do football. Because it's 12 o'clock, and I know there's always these early games Sunday. And I'm red hot. I'm red hot in basketball, and I'm red hot in baseball. And it's all logic. That's the best theory is, and the same thing in football. Football, I'm hunting defense. And baseball, I got this other thing going. All right, 135. Toronto goes to the Yankees. The Yankees 168.5. Kevin Gausman for Toronto, 2-2 with the 3.16 against Max Fried, 4-0 with the 1.42. We got to go Yankees there. Max Fried's on fire. We'll play him for 2 units. Yankees have 4 hitters. Toronto has 4 hitters. There should be a little bit of runs, but I cannot go over with Max Fried with the 1.42 ERA. He's the best pitcher in the league right now. Gausman's okay. He's no Max. He's not. He's a different level. The METSs play Washington, 135. The Mets minus 150 Tyler McGill, 3-2 with a 109. Holy shit. Against Mitchell Parker, 3-1 with a 139. Here's our lock of the day. Let's go NYM or the JETSs under 8. I can't believe this is an under. This is 8. This is going to be. We'll do 3 units. If we look at the Mets, let's conclude the whole assignment. 4 hitters, 5 bad hitters. Washington, 2 hitters. Oh, this is easy. So this is going to be a 1-0 game, right? The Mets aren't hitting McGill, and they're not hitting Parker. 109 against a 139, and these are regular starters, 3-2, 3-1. They pitch 5-6 games. You got to love this matchup. Had one been playing a pig with the 6 ERA, then we bet on the 1 ERA like we did with the Yankees. In this case, it's a beautiful under. So play this strong. 3 units, play it stronger. Oh, my God, what a great matchup for us. California and Minnesota, they're doing the same thing in basketball. The Lakers playing the Vikings. Minnesota, 180 Jose Soriano, 2-3 with the 4.34. Joe Ryan, 1-2 with the 4.0. Not the best pitching matchup. Joe Ryan's pretty good. Soriano looks like a pig, 2-3 with the 4.34. Minnesota has 1 hitter, maybe 2 because Buxton was not included, and so we'll give them credit. California's got 4 hitters. Can Minnesota get us over 8? So we're going to have to go mini over 8, but we're not going to bet it. So a game like this, you don't have enough hitting from Minnesota. The pitching sucks. What I noticed yesterday, there was one of the games we lost. I think it was Milwaukee. We bet against the pitcher with a 10 ERA, but he only pitched 2 innings, and that's where the problem lies in baseball now. I'm going to get into analytics, rooting sports. Either I might just do a private, separate class on that, but it's fucking ridiculous. They go 2 innings. So here you're betting on, this guy's got a 10 ERA. He's going to give up 5-6 runs. I just got to go over. And yet that's not what happens. It ends up becoming, you're only pitching 2 innings, and then all the bullpen guys come out for an inning. Well, it's not that hard if you're in the bullpen and you only have to pitch 1 inning, pitch 15 pitches and get your strikeouts, and your manager's bringing you in against. So if you're a lefty, against a couple of lefties, if you're a righty, a couple of righties, are you coming in at the bottom of the order where it's easier than going through the meat of the order? So it's a different game now. The managers are just clueless. I find the managers in baseball are clueless. The coaches in football are clueless. The GMs in football are really clueless. Based on this draft, what the fuck's Oakland doing taking these 2 quarterbacks in the 6th and 7th round? Do you have a brain in your head? I mean, you're clearly showing you have no idea what you're doing. I like the Gentry pick, but they did bring in some defensive tackles for Crosby, and apparently they have another one that they paid a lot of money to, which I would have never done. But you didn't bring in a quarterback, and the 2 you brought in aren't going to help you. And I think they did bring in a receiver, but you got Brock Bowers. You don't need one. They can't guard him anyway. All right. Baltimore at Detroit. Detroit 227.5. Dean Kremer 2-3 with the 6.84 against Detroit. Says Tarek Skubal 2-2 with the 2.83. Now, we did this last week. We took School Bowl after they beat KC the first 3 games, and he loses. Baltimore is pretty bad, 10-16. Detroit 17-10. Detroit's very good at home. Detroit can hit, so we got to go Detroit again. And we'll go 2 units. I mean, even yesterday we had them. We took Detroit in the first game, and they're up 4-0, and then they win 4-3. It's always the 7 with Detroit. In the second game, they actually did an 8, so they'll win this game 5-2. Baltimore doesn't have much, and Detroit, they can hit. So even with their minor league hitters, they can hit a little bit. So Scooble, he's probably better at home. We'll take Scooble, but I'm not as impressed. He's had a few bad outings already. Boston and Cleveland. Boston -115, 7.5. We had Cleveland. They won yesterday. Brian Bello 1-0 with a 1.8 against Logan Allen 1-1 with a 2.11. We got to go. This is an automatic under here. Cleveland under 7.5. We're not going to go 2 units, but we should. Let's see the hitting. Boston 3 hitters and Cleveland 4 hitters, so they might get over 7.5. But again, it's how long does these pitchers go? And if they go 7 innings, it's a lock under. If they go 3 innings, it's not. So we'll have to see what we got. David, TK, why aren't they high on Dylan Gabriel? Well, what I read in the comments was he's old and a weak arm. This is what they think of him. Now, I watched the Oregon-Ohio State game and the Oregon-Michigan game. I don't know what you're talking about. He's very quick. He knows how to run, and he's got a very good arm. He hits the receivers right on the numbers like Penix does. So, again, this is where I have a problem with the GMs. They don't know how to do their own homework, right? I don't listen to anybody when I look at the draft, when I pick my football, when I pick my basketball. It's me doing my theories and analyzing and coming up with the winner on my own. That way I can defend it, and that way if it makes sense to me and through repetition, I win a whole lot more than I lose. It's very easy. Look at me yesterday with the fucking what was the one game? Orlando. I get Orlando +10 and they lose by 2 at home. I wouldn't listen to anybody on that. That's my pick based on whoever they're playing has it wrapped up. They're up 3-0. If they lose, they go home and win game 5, and they don't really care. And I think it was Orlando that had to win so they could survive. So they played their best game. And that was my logic. But I'm not going to listen to anybody. People might listen to me, but I'm not going to listen to anybody to come up with that theory. So in Dylan Gabriel, what do? You watch the Michigan game, watch the Ohio State game. They beat Ohio State, I think, 35-32. I was in Italy that week. What the fuck are you talking about? He's slow and he doesn't have an arm. This is Ohio State, the best defense in the country, giving up 10, 15 points a game. He puts up 33 on them. That's what I look at, is how does he do in the big games? Michael Penix beat Oregon twice. Oregon always has a good defense. The coach is the defensive coordinator from Georgia. When they shut out everybody, is the Oregon coach. He's a lousy game planner. He goes for 4th down way too much. He doesn't understand. I was thinking about this. They don't understand the other edge of the algorithms. In other words, we got to go on 4th down. They don't get, but if you miss, you're fucked. What they don't get on this, with your defense, you need to pump the ball or kick your field goal, and they don't do it. But Penix beat that defense not once but twice, and the Texas defense, and he would have beat the Michigan defense, but the refs were on Michigan, so he kept getting pass interference calls. But Penix laid the ball in. He looked fine. And the same thing here with Bo Nix last year, and now Gabriel. It's a good offense. Bo Nix looks fine in it. Gabriel, It's not a gimmick offense like Alabama was running or like Ohio State runs. These are good offenses, and he looks fine. He runs fine. He knows how to run. Against Michigan, I was watching yesterday, and it was like they had the ball at like the 20-yard line. It was sort of like a Jalen Daniels run, right? Jalen Daniels against the Lions or against the Eagles. He had that 10-yard touchdown run where he kind of you couldn't really grab him, and he scooted in, and that's how Gabriel looked. He kind of Michigan kind of had him and didn't. Well, look at Michigan, all these Mason Graham and all these other first round draft picks, and he went right through them like butter, and he put up 35 points on them against this Michigan defense, and yet nobody's acknowledging it, and you just get blown away. Like, what are you looking? Well, he's old. What is he, 23? I mean, that ain't old. Holmes is like going to 30 now. And he's got no arm. What are you talking about? He's got no arm. Yeah, maybe in a clinic he's got no arm when he's in t-shirts and his shorts, but he's got an arm in the game. Joe Montana had an arm in the game. He can throw the ball on time to the receivers who are always wide open, and he always lays it in their lap. That's what I want. I am not worried about can he throw the ball 80 yards. That's absolutely not the critical thing you look at. Oh, Richardson can throw the ball 90 yards. Josh Allen, yeah, but they can't win. They don't know how to do it. They don't know when to. You don't need to throw it 90 yards. You need to throw it 30 yards. You need to throw it accurately. So that's my point. They just look at the age and they look at his arm and, oh, he's no good. Well, since when is age? Oh, 23. Oh, my God, he's ancient. He looked pretty good against Ohio State. That's all I can say. Why did the Raiders wait to the 6th round to pick up Cam Miller, who plays in the FCS with Quinn Ewers was still on the board? Well, even Will Howard was out there, and so was I don't know if I would think Haynes King it will come out next year. I think he's the senior this year. But why didn't they draft him? My point is you take Gabriel in the 3rd round, and in the 6th and 7th round, you get some good defensive players. Get your offensive linemen in the 6th and 7th round. That's my point. That's the thesis. The linemen you get in the 5th, 6th, 7th round are just as good as the guys in the 1st round. You can't tell me there's a difference. If you can, show me how. They block. You get a starting lineman from Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Notre Dame, Texas, in the 6th, 7th round is just as good as the guy from Ohio State in the 1st round, with the guy from LSU with the 5th pick. What is he? So I put my best defensive player on the other side. Now what? Now what's he do? Or I put my guy like Lawrence Taylor way outside. He can't block him. Or I do stunts. It doesn't matter. He can't. If I don't line up anybody, it doesn't matter how good he is. That's the problem. You just look at it like that. So I would have drafted Gabriel or Will Howard at least, although I like Gabriel better. But Will Howard won the national championship, so what's wrong with him? Yeah, he had a bad game, but they did beat Penn State. The game against Michigan, he looked terrible. Don't understand that, but then he did well against Notre Dame in the championship. I saw Riley Leonard was drafted. I wouldn't have drafted him, but okay. But I would never, Prime Jr., why would Cleveland draft him after you drafted the other guy? Anyway, Raiders are not thinking about their future here. Well, they're overvaluing these 2 Mickey Mouse guys. I don't get. David TK, what happened to that Cam quarterback who got injured? Is he done? Cam Rising? Yeah, he kept getting injured. I would imagine he's done. He's better than all these guys, but he can't stay healthy. So I don't see who's going to draft him, although they did draft the one guy who broke his leg, the Florida State quarterback. The Jets drafted him, I think. He'll never see the field. Unfortunately, Cam Rising was great. Tyler Van Dyke from Miami went to Wisconsin, hurt his knee. I don't know. He'll get another year probably as a redshirt. Haynes King from Georgia Tech, very good. Keep your eye on Bryson Daly, the quarterback at Army. He will be an excellent sort of option quarterback near the goal line or 3rd and 4th and 1. You can't stop him. He reminds me of Quentin Flowers, my guy from UCF. You cannot stop Daly. 32 touchdowns. You think Gentry got a lot. Gentry got 26 in 14 and 15 games. Daly got 32 in like 11 or 12 games. He has a knack for missing to read the tacklers and miss them. So I would definitely, if I'm going to pick up 2 hack quarterbacks, I'd pick up Daly. And Daly can actually throw the ball, not too bad. But yeah, Cam Rising, he kept getting hurt. His knee, it's just too difficult for that. All right. So Boston, Cleveland, we went under, and we'll get back to the drafts and then finish baseball. Houston at KC, Houston minus 157.5. Hunter Brown 3-1 with a 116 against Chris Bubik, 2-1 with a 145. We're going under here. Well, this is just under day, so we will go Houston under 7.5, and we'll go 2 units. We got Milwaukee, St. Louis. We got Jose Quintano 3-0 with a .96. Look at these pitchers. Against Eric Feedy, 1-2 with the 3-3. We got to go Milwaukee, 2 units. Quintano 3-0 with a .96. If Feedy had a 2-3-3, this would be a lock under. But Milwaukee can hit, and Milwaukee's got great pitching. This should be a shutout for Milwaukee. So I'm not fucking with the over-under. There's a time you play the total, and there's a time you play the pitcher. Cincinnati, Colorado. Cincinnati 135 and 11 in Colorado, of course. Nick Lodolo 2-2 with the 379. Ryan Feltner 0-1 with the 386. Let's see. Lodolo's okay. Feltner 0-1 with the 386. Let's look at this guy. Is he real or a bullpenner? Ooh, out of Ohio State, this guy. No, he pitches 5-6 innings. He's given up 5 runs against the Dodgers. Otherwise, 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. He goes 6-7 innings. So this looks like an under game. Let's go Cincy under 11. Now, I won't bet it because it's in Colorado, but I don't get how you get a total of 11 with a 279 and a 386 pitcher who's really less than a 386. He just had 1 bad game against the Dodgers. Otherwise, he's probably like a 150. So we're going under there. Texas and the 49ers. The Cowboys 49ers rivalry heating up. I loved it. I think my little football names is growing because they had the Phillies were playing the Cubs. It was the game of the week. And in the crowd, there was a bunch of Eagle jerseys. And I go, there we go. And then I'm surprised there wasn't, well, it's Chicago, any Bear jerseys. But there you go. Wear your football. Fuck every other sport. Texas and the 49ers. 49ers 130 and 8. Jack Leiter 2-0 with a .90 for Texas. Jesus Christ. Jordan Hicks 1-3 with this. We got to go Texas. Look at this. These are just the dominoes are just lining up for us. Look at this is the 4th or 5th pitcher with a .9 ERA, and he's pitched 4 or 5 games already. The White Sox and the A's. This was high scoring yesterday. I think the White Sox won. We got Oakland minus 210, 9.5. Davis Martin for the White Sox, 1-3 with a 395, and Oswald Cobblepot 2-2 with a 485 for Oakland. I'm going to go over again. I'm going to go Oakland over 9.5. I'm not going to bet it, but Chicago's been hitting the ball. Oakland seems to score a lot of runs. I mean, they keep looking at their games, and they get 5-6 runs. Let's see. White Sox have only 2 hitters, and Oakland has 4 hitters. But the White Sox, what I notice is the guys hitting 175 get 3 hits. That's what really screws you up. You're expecting the 175 hitter to go 0 for 4. Otherwise, he'd be a 280 hitter. And then he gets 3 hits, and you're like, he's hitting 175. What do you mean? All right, so we'll go over with Oakland. Atlanta, Arizona. We got lucky. We had Atlanta. They scored in the 9th inning to win the game yesterday. Atlanta minus 128.5. They are now 12-14. Atlanta. They were 2-11. They are coming. Arizona 14-13, and that's important to watch. These teams on the streaks. They get hot. They get cold. Atlanta's hot. Atlanta's favored. Spencer Schwellenbach 1-2 with the 2.56 against Brandon Pfaadt 4-1 with the 2.73. This is a beautiful. We go Atlanta. We go under 8.5. And we'll go 2 units. We got a 2.56 against the 2.73, and both pitchers pitched. So there you go. It's just what a day. All these really low ERA pitchers are going for us. Tampa Bay, San Diego. Dylan Cease pitched pretty good yesterday. It was like a 2-0 game. We had San Diego over 7, and they didn't get there, and they didn't win. Tampa won. Tampa's a 105, 8.5 favorite. San Diego's a very good team, 17-10. Zach Littell, 0-5 with the 5.28 versus Randy Vasquez, 1-2 with the 3.97. Tampa Bay has 5 hitters, and San Diego's got 7 hitters. This is going to be an over. We're going to go San Diego over 8.5 again. And we'll go 2 units. We didn't bet it yesterday. They didn't score, but against Zach Littell, 0-5 with the 5.28. It's either San Diego or it's over. So we'll go over. I prefer going over when I'm not quite sure because both teams can score. The Pirates and the Dodgers, big shutout for Scanes the other day, Friday night. Yesterday was low scoring also. We got the Dodgers 325-8. Bailey Falter 1-2 with the 5.19. Tyler Glasgow 1-0 with the 3.71. I'm going to go over here. Pitt over 8. I do not like 325 with what? All right, Bailey Falter 1-2, but I got Tyler Glasgow 1-0 with the 3.71. I'm not betting 325 on that guy. One of my 1.0 pitchers, yeah, but not 3.71. So we'll go Pitt over, no bet. Miami and Seattle. We've got Seattle minus 145, 7.5. Max Meyer 2-2 with a 2.10 against Logan Evans. 0-0 with an 0-0-0. I'm just going to take Seattle just because they're kind of hot. They're 15-12. They won 14-0 yesterday. Maybe they'll keep it going. I don't know. Logan Evans, just they've been playing well. Toronto and the Yankees. Oh, we got game 2. A doubleheader today. Chris Bassett for Toronto, 2-1 with a 1.88. Clark Schmidt, 0-1 something. We're going Toronto in game 2. We don't have a line yet. It doesn't matter. We'll make this 2 units. So we got Yankees in the game 1. And then Bassett with a 1.88 against Clark Schmidt with the 7.45. We'll take Toronto in the second. It's interesting they didn't put Bassett against Max Fried. I don't know what to do. If I'm the manager, do I want my ace going against their ace? Or what he's doing, he's being conservative. He goes, well, we're going to lose to Max Fried, but we'll win with Bassett in game 2. So we'll split. That's what the manager's thinking. No balls at all. Philly and the Cubs wearing our Eagles jerseys. The Toronto, New York first game's been postponed. Okay, hold on then. We'll have to rethink that. Is Fried going to pitch? If Fried pitches against Bassett in game 2, we're locking the under. But I don't know. We'll see. Otherwise, Philly and the Cubs. Philly 105-8. Aaron Nola 0-5 with a 6.43. He's terrible. He's not that bad, but he's pitching bad. James Talon 1-1 with a 4.73. So we're going to go over Philly over 8, and we'll make this 3 units because they both can hit Philly can hit, the Cubs can hit. They got a lot of hitting, and they got weak pitching. So this is probably the start, the game of the day. We'll go through this. So the Mets are the Yankees. Are they? What's going on with the Yankees? Game one. I don't know. It shows it starts at 1:30, but then it's saying it's postponed. So let's see if the Yankees play game one. So we start off with the Yankees, 2 units. The METS, Mets under 8, 3 units. Minnesota over 8. Detroit, 2 units. Cleveland under 7.5. Houston under 7.5, 2 units. Milwaukee, 2 units. Cincinnati under 11. Texas, 2 units. Oakland over 9.5. Atlanta under 8.5, 2 units. San Diego over 8.5, 2 units. Pitt over 8. Seattle, Toronto, 2 units. Philly over 8, 3 units. Toronto game 2. So you understand there's a doubleheader. So the bets we've got are the Yankees 2 units, the Mets under 8, 3 units, Detroit 2 units, Houston under 7.5, 2 units, Milwaukee 2 units, Texas 2 units, Atlanta under 8.5, 2 units, San Diego over 8.5, 2 units, Toronto game 2, 2 units, Philly over 8, 3 units. That's probably the biggest one. That and the Mets under 8. We have just beautiful pitching matchups. I got pitchers with 0.9 ERAs going tonight, 1.1s, 1.2s. I got Schoolbowl, the ace of the Tigers. Houston, Milwaukee, their ace going. Just go down the list. Texas, and it's just it's Christmas morning today. So that's what we got in baseball. We've given basketball, and now let's look at the NFL draft. In the NFL draft, I'm going to do team by team. I can't believe. Well, let's do position first, just a few positions, and then we'll do team. So, of my pick of quarterback, Will Howard was picked. Dylan Gabriel was picked. Curtis Rourke went to the 49ers from the Indiana quarterback. That was a steal for them. Tyler Shaw, Cam Ward, Dart, Prime Jr. Urs, did he go? I don't think. And then Haynes King. I'm not sure that McLeod and Morris were in the draft. How could you miss them? Running backs, Gentry, yes. Scatterboo, yes. Neal, yes. Johnson, yes. Tajay Brooks. Whoever got Tajay Brooks, I think he went to Cincinnati in like the 7th round. What a steal that was. Jesus Christ. Sampson, Tennessee, yes. Hampton, North Carolina. Harvey, UCF. The only one that didn't go was Daly, the Army quarterback. Wide receivers, Fannin from Bowling Green, I think he went to Cleveland. Hunter went. McMillan from Arizona went. I think Williams, Washington State, and Respespo from Miami. So let's go position by position, but only the good ones. So quarterback, running back, and receiver, tight end. So quarterbacks. Do I ever bet boxing? I made one boxing bet in my life. I had Sugar Ray Leonard over Hearns. Because I'm from Detroit. I was booking football at the time. I was like 14, 15 years old. And here comes Leonard and Hagler and Hearns. And everybody in Detroit is betting Hearns. And what I learned about it is it's great. I was getting money with Sugar Ray Leonard because Hearns was favored. So I was getting like 150 money on it because normally you're betting a money line. So you're betting, you bet 110 to win 100 or 120 to win 100. Or if I had Leonard, it was like even, or I got 110. But with that one, it was Leonard was, or Hearns was minus 150 because we're in Detroit. So I'm getting plus 150 with Sugar Ray Leonard. I was like, great. So I booked it and Sugar Ray Leonard won. But I don't normally bet boxing. How do you analyze it? I don't really know. I know to bet Hagler. I know to bet Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, But now I couldn't name any players, so it'd be hard to bet it. But I don't really follow it. Let's say I didn't even know there was much going on with boxing now. So yeah, occasionally, but not a lot. All right, football quarterback Cam Ward goes to Tennessee. Big mistake. Tennessee, they got big problems. Who's their coach? Do they have a coach? Do they have a GM? I don't even think so. This is a terrible pick. He's not a first pick. He's not a first round pick. Go back to his Washington State, and you'll see what I mean. Jackson Dart goes to the Giants. What is this? Terrible pick. This is not a quarterback. This guy couldn't do much at Ole Miss. This was a bad pick. He is not a first round quarterback. They like him because he can run. Again, we keep getting into analytics. Well, he's good because he can run. No, I want a quarterback who can throw the ball. Two guys that are open, who can read a defense. This guy has no clue. I know who his coach was, and I'm not sold on the coach being anything good at Mississippi. He was the coach at Alabama, and he's giving you Bryce Young, and he's giving you Mac Jones. So his track record of having the quarterback ready is 0. Terrible, terrible pick. They're better off with Danny DeVito. Tyler Shaw, Louisville, goes to New Orleans. You got Jake Hagener. Radler's no good, but Hagener's good. And okay, Carr's maybe injured. I don't know. I mean, if I'm doing this, I would have drafted Dylan Gabriel. I have him ranked higher than Tyler Shaw. So little iffy that he's going to do anything. Jalen Milroe goes to Seattle. What is this? Which game did you like that you watched that Jalen Milroe did anything? The Tennessee game that they got killed? The Texas game that they got killed? Where in God's name do you see Milrose as a good? Again, he can run. Dart can run. Milrose can run. So the whole draft is being based on analytics, not quarterback sense. Not you're looking at the quarterback in the big games, watching him choke, going, yeah, but he's fast. That's what they're basically doing. They don't have a clue. Seattle, we're going to bet heavy. If this guy starts for Seattle, I mean, you've got Sam Darnold already who sucks, and now you're going to have this guy. Choke, 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 and choke. Finally, Dylan Gabriel, 3rd round, goes to Cleveland. Outstanding. There's your starter for the next 5 years. I'm trying to see his age. I go to Full Player Report, but they don't give you an older, shorter quarterback with a limited arm. Yeah, it really bothered him that he was older and shorter. I don't know what you're talking about, older, but I can't find his age. Somebody give me his age. You're damn right I should be a GM. I should be the president of the team, and then we'd be the Super Bowl a lot. I did send resumes out a few years ago to be their GM and get them to the Super Bowl. The only 2 that responded was Detroit and Denver, and they wanted me to apply to be the towel boy or something. I says, I'm the one with the brains here. You got to be kidding me. But yeah, this is ridiculous. So Gabriel's your starter. Then the next pick is Prime Jr. going to Cleveland. What is that? You don't need anything else but a 4-string quarterback. Prime time's terrible. They're comparing him to Kirk Cousins. Wow. I mean, that's ridiculous. He's very weak. He scrambles a lot. He can't find receivers, can't read defenses. And he's just, frankly, he's like Caleb. He wants to run around and wait till the guy's wide open. He cannot read a defense. You can't anticipate where the runner's going to be. So this is a terrible This was a circus with what they did in Colorado. So this is stupid. This is wasting a pick. Draft a guard, draft a defensive tackle. There's plenty of them out there that came after the 5th round. Philadelphia, Kyle McCord, Syracuse. What the fuck are they doing? I know that whatchamacallit, who's their quarterback? I keep saying McNabb, but that was before Jalen Hurts. Okay, this guy stunk. He stunk at Ohio State, lost to Michigan twice, and then transferred to Syracuse, where there was less competition because now he's in the soft ACC with no defenses. So he has big numbers for Syracuse, but not for Ohio State. Didn't do anything with all that talent and lost to Michigan, lost in the playoff. This guy, what are you doing here, Philadelphia? Now, in retrospect, here Pittsburgh, round 6, pick 9. This is round 6, pick 5. Takes Will Howard, who's 20 times better than this guy. All right. He wins the national title. You're not giving him credit for it. Why not? Very good quarterback at Kansas State, goes to Ohio State, wins the national title. He should not have been a 6th rounder. This is what New Orleans should have taken instead of Tyler Shaw. This guy's getting no credit. Round 6, pick 13. Riley Leonard, Notre Dame, goes to Indiana. Now, he's much better than Richardson, but so is anybody else. Richardson's terrible. All he can do is run. He's not a good quarterback, can't throw. But he's got a big arm. You know, why are they so interested in the big arm? Big arm. How big an arm does Mahomes have, and Burrow and Justin Herbert and those guys, Aaron Rodgers? Do they have big arms, or they know they're smart, right? So Riley Leonard going to Indy is okay. He's not a great quarterback, but he's better than what they have. This pick makes no. This shows how stupid Houston is. Graham Mertz from Florida. He sucked at Wisconsin. He sucked at Florida. What are you doing? Do you actually think this guy's gonna CJ Stroud gets hurt and you go to Graham Mertz? You think you're gonna win a game? We'll be betting so heavily against them, it'll be a joke. This guy stinks. This guy's not draftable. What are you doing? Then we get to Oakland, round 6, pick 37. Tommy Mellott, Montana State. Is there a full player report? No. I mean, if you're going to give a player report, show touchdowns to interceptions and shit like that. 6'2", 208 out of Montana State. The only thing from Montana is Joe Montana. I don't get it. Is you going to put this guy in the game? You know, Geno Smith gets hurt or he sucks. You're going to go to this guy? And you're just going to hand the ball off to Gentry then. And the other guy from UTSA, who's really good. Cam Miller, North Dakota State, 6'1", 210. So you got a guy 6'1", you got a guy 6 feet, and you're worried about Dylan Gabriel being what, 5'10", 5'11"? I don't know who Cam Miller is, North Dakota State. The only thing you can relate it to is Carson Wentz, who sucks, from North Dakota State. Or the other guy, Trey Lance from North Dakota State. He's done a fine job. So what do you have to draw from that anybody from North Dakota State's any good? Now, here you go. Round 7, pick 11. Curtis Rourke from Indiana. Who's better than both this Cam Miller and Tommy Mellott? So why didn't Oakland take Curtis Rourke from Indiana? Frisco gets him. He'll be a fine backup, probably better than whatchamacallit that they got. I can't even think of his name. My mind's, I can't. But Curtis Rourke's very good. I mean, this guy, Indiana won a lot of games with this guy as your quarterback. He's very undervalued, and he's 6'5", 222. So maybe he's good because he's 6'5". Miami, Quinn Ewers from Texas. Not crazy about this guy. A lot of turnovers. What does that tell you about Tagliabue? Oh, when he gets his concussions, we'll have a backup. And that's it. Profit. Raiders have clearly put all their eggs in the Geno basket, but he's 30-some years old, and he's never won anything anyway. He had DK Metcalf and Lockett, and he couldn't do shit in Seattle. What pray tell is he going to do here? Hand the ball off to Gentry? I mean, I don't get it. Quinn Ewers goes to Miami. Okay, he stinks, but okay. Curtis Rourke should have went to the Raiders, and then you've got Will Howard. Or Graham Mertz should never have been picked. Riley Leonard, okay, but Will Howard goes to the Steelers. The Steelers got Will Howard. They got Skadaboo. They got a great defensive tackle. I give Pitt and Atlanta the top 2 grades. Makes absolutely no sense. Well, when you got idiots drafting, that's what you get. Raiders have put all their eggs. I don't even know what they're doing. They got Coach Pete. It's about all you can say about him. We'll take a look at the Raiders team drafting. All right, now let's go to running back. Well, the Raiders should have taken Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. We'll go through their draft, and it works out fine. There is linemen and defensive players that went in the 6th, 7th round that are fine. There was a running back in the 7th round. We'll take a look at it. Running backs. Ashton Gentry goes to Oakland. Great pick. You got Brock Bowers, and you got the tight end from Notre Dame. I don't really need I got Brock Bowers. He's my all-pro receiver for the next 10 years. Then Orion Hampton goes to San Diego. I don't like that pick. I don't think he's a winner. I don't know what anybody saw about him, but we'll see. Then you got Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State goes to Cleveland. I don't like this. I like the other guy, Henderson from Ohio State. I don't like this guy. He didn't do anything. 6 feet, 219. I don't know. But Cleveland's stocking themselves. Travion Henderson goes to New England. So not a bad pickup for New England. They tend to not have running backs. But, the coach is Mike Vrabel. He went to Ohio State. So they're drafting Ohio State players. R.J. Harvey goes to Denver. I love this one. UCF. He had like 1,700 yards. Now let's see. What's with these, player report, and they don't show you anything. Now, here you go. Caleb Johnson, my guy out of Iowa, goes to the Steelers. So the Steelers have added quarterback, Will Howard. They've added Caleb Johnson. They've added the one of the best defensive tackles out of Oregon. They had a hell of a draft. Can they beat Lamar if they stop making mistakes? And can they beat Cincinnati? I don't know if they can beat Joe Burrow. Geno is decent, but he can't win the big game. He can't win the little ones either. Down the stretch, Seattle needed to make the playoffs. He didn't show up. He's not a good quarterback. I never thought he was. We've been making a lot of money betting against Geno Smith. So Caleb Johnson goes to Pittsburgh. I like that. Very good. Baishay Tootin from West Virginia goes to Jacksonville. Are you kidding me? Terrible pick. You could have had Cam Skadaboo, who goes in the Giants. So 4th round, pick 2, Baishay Tootin from Virginia Tech. And the next pick is Cam Skadaboo. What an idiot. Who's the one for Jacksonville making the pick? You could have had Cam Skadaboo. He goes to the Giants. So the Giants have, I don't know if they have a quarterback. They drafted one, I can't remember. But Skadaboo is very good getting first downs, very good in the red zone. Good player. Carolina gets Trevor Etienne, which I'm not sold on. He was injured a lot for Georgia. He didn't really play big. He didn't win him too many games. And he goes to Carolina. I don't think he'll do anything there. Houston gets Woody Marks, running back, USC. He's more of a scat back. I don't know. How did USC do? Oh, yeah, not too good. The Rams take Jaquez Hunter from Auburn. I don't know, SEC guy, nothing special. Cleveland now gets Dylan Sampson. So Cleveland's doing a lot of double picking here. I love Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. This guy's great. He's got heart. He'll get you the yards. So who is the other Cleveland guy? Or have we not got there yet? Anyway, Dylan Sampson, very good back out of Tennessee. San Francisco, Jordan James from Oregon, great pick. Frisco knows how to do it, and the rest of these teams don't. That's what separates them. Jordan James. So if we go back, Jacksonville could have had this guy. They could have had Scatterboo. They picked the wrong guy. Unbelievable. Virginia Tech. Yeah, they had a great offense. Dallas, Jaden Blue out of Texas. He got injured a lot, but we'll see. They need a running back, so I don't mind it, but it's in the fifth round. And what I'm noticing here is, why are these guys going in the third, fourth, fifth round when they should be first rounders? I think my conclusion was that because of analytics and because the Eagles won, everybody's going after offensive and defensive linemen. And they're making them more important than the running backs and the receivers and the quarterbacks, which is wrong. You don't win with linemen. You win with a good quarterback and a good running back. You win because of Mahomes. You win because of Barkley. You don't win with Jared Goffs and these shit quarterbacks. Look at Darnold. You don't win with you win. You lose because of Darnold. You lose because of Jordan Love can't do it or Lamar can't do it. That's why you lose. You win with Mahomes. I mean, hello, McFly. I mean, it's just ridiculous. All right. So Indy then gets DJ Giddens from Kansas State. I don't mind this guy because I like Kansas State has good NFL players. Goes to Indianapolis. He'll probably play there. Ollie Gordon II, Oklahoma State, who was phenomenal 2 years ago. And I kept saying he's Jim Brown. Last year, he didn't show up. There was a guy I worked with at my job who said he knows the guy and he was like stuck up. And he saw him in Vegas and he didn't care. He was just getting drunk all the time or drugs, and he wasn't serious about it. So I don't know. Miami's really going out on a limb with this guy. I don't know. A sleeper pick. Devin Neal from Kansas goes to New Orleans. What a brilliant pick. This guy's better than almost all these guys. I had Devin Neal like third. Gentry, Scatterboo, Devin Neal. This guy's an excellent running back. He goes to New Orleans. We'll see. Although their quarterback's going to be a problem, but he'll be right in there with Kamara. They'll get him in on he'll be like an outlet, and he's a good runner. This guy's outstanding, Kansas. Khalil Mullins from Michigan goes to Tennessee. Tennessee likes Michigan players. I don't know why, but he can go. I don't know. He won't do anything in the pros. And this is the steal of the draft in round 6, pick 17. Tajee Brooks, Texas Tech, goes to Cincinnati. He'll be your starting running back. He'll give Burrow what he needs with Chase and T. Higgins. They did pick up some defense. Look for Cincinnati in the championship game next year because of this guy. How do you not pick this guy? It's unbelievable. What are these GMs looking at? They're picking the Giants picked the wrong players, and here this guy's sitting there in the 6th fucking round. Cincinnati has a first rounder. It's just unbelievable. Damian Martinez, a running back from Miami, goes to Seattle. Why? You have the Michigan running back who went to UCLA, and you've got the Michigan State running back. You don't need this guy. What are you doing? Kansas City, Brashard Smith, running back SMU. Maybe he's a receiver out of the backfield. I don't know. Kyle Mangahigney, the running back from Rutgers, goes to the Bears. I don't know. He's pretty good. He's probably good on short yardage. I don't know if he can catch the ball. Good blocker. I don't know. We'll see. LaQuint Allen, running back, Syracuse to Jacksonville again. Jacksonville screws up. This is their second running back. They could have had all these guys, and they take this guy, LaQuint Allen. What a stupid pick. Out of Syracuse. Syracuse didn't run the ball. They passed the ball. Dallas picks up Phil Maffa, running back from Clemson. Clemson didn't have a very good running. They had a good quarterback, Kate Klublik, not running. I don't understand that. So you can see a lot of what the fuck are you doing, and they can't grade the backs. Let's go to wide receiver. If I can figure out half these guys, most of them suck. McMillan, Carolina, bad pick. He was just good because everybody else sucked, but he's not good. The better receiver was Farnham from Bowling Green, who went to Cleveland. Cleveland had a hell of a day yesterday. Carolina, no. Ngbagba from Ohio State goes to Tampa. He won't be anything. Matthew Golan, Texas, goes to Green Bay. Green Bay's got 5 receivers. Why are they drafting a receiver when they need defense? They can't beat the Lions. This guy's not going to help them because they won't have time to throw the ball. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State goes to Houston. Okay, he's a nice receiver. You still got C.J. Stroud is your problem. Luther Burden goes to the Bears. So, again, the Bears need to get Caleb to replace Keenan Allen. Is he any good? He's pretty good, actually, this guy. Trey Harris from Ole Miss goes to San Diego. I don't get it. I mean, if you wanted it, you had Brock Bowers last year. And this guy, is he any good? I don't know. Ole Miss plays a very strange system that doesn't really channel. How many Mississippi receivers have you seen? Not a lot. I think that's a bad pick for San Diego. It just isn't a good receiver thing. And here comes Oakland taking Jack Beck from TCU. He's not really a fast guy. He's more Fred Blitnikoff than Cliff Branch. Kyle Williams, Washington State, goes to New England. He's not. They don't have a quarterback. It doesn't matter. Isaac Tesla goes to the Lions from Arkansas. He had 20 catches. What the fuck are they doing? Terrible pick. Pat Bryant from Illinois. Illinois could score. They had a good. I like their quarterback. He must not have been a senior. He should be a high draft pick. The Illinois quarterback goes to Denver. Okay, that'll help. They still need a running back. Oh, Denver did take a running back, I think. Jalen Noel, another receiver from Iowa State, goes to Houston. I don't know is that the only school they watched was Iowa State. Savion Williams, TCU, goes to Green Bay. So that's 2 receivers they take. I don't know how good. This guy's probably okay for a third rounder. The Vikings, Tay Felton, wide receiver in Maryland. With all the things that the Vikings need, this isn't one of them. You got Justin Jefferson. This guy's never seen the ball. So this is just a waste. Shamir Dyke, Tennessee, wide receiver from Florida. Florida did not have a good offense. I don't know. Sometimes they're fast out of Florida, but Tennessee needs a quarterback. Dante Thornton to Oakland from Tennessee. This guy's nothing. He's fast. Arian Smith from Georgia goes to the JETSs. Who knows? Georgia had a pretty good game, but that was their freshman I thought was really good. Jalen Lane, Virginia Tech, goes to Washington. I have no idea. Virginia Tech didn't score a whole lot of points last year. Jalen Royals, Utah State, goes to KC. I have no idea. I don't have him on my list. Elik Aranama from Stanford goes to Tennessee. Really? You're drafting guys out of Stanford. Okay, good luck. Jordan Watkins from Ole Miss goes to Frisco. I feel a lot more confident with this guy from Ole Miss than the other guy. 5'11", 200, probably a little slot guy. They need receivers. He's probably like Deebo Samuel, where you can give him the ball and run. Keandre Lambert Smith, Auburn goes to San Diego. Auburn had no offense. You're really stretching. You're going to Auburn for receivers. Torrey Horton, wide receiver, Colorado State goes to Seattle. Again, the inept of Seattle finding players and picking them. Unbelievable. LeJohn Western, wide receiver from Colorado, went to Baltimore. Good luck with that one, everybody. All their throws went to the other guy. So I don't know. Jimmy Horn, wide receiver, Colorado, goes to Carolina. So you're telling me they had 3 receivers at Colorado besides the Heisman Trophy winner. And he probably saw, 10 passes? Another stupid pick by Carolina. This is why teams suck and teams are good. San Francisco knows how to pick, and Carolina doesn't. Here you go. Tez Johnson, Oregon, great receiver, goes to Tampa. So Carolina could have had this guy. Baltimore could have had this guy. Seattle could have had this guy. And they all miss it. And he goes to Tampa. These guys from Oregon are so much better than these other guys. Ricky White from Vegas goes to Seattle. Now, this guy might be good. Vegas had a really good offense. This is better than their other guy. Caden Prater, wide receiver, Maryland, go to Buffalo. He'll never see the field. Conta Mumfield, wide receiver, Pittsburgh, goes to the Rams. He'll never see the field. Dominic Lovett from Georgia goes to the Lions. He won't make the team. Junior Bergen from look at Montana. Oh, see, they draft this went to the Niners. Who knows? I mean, because the Niners drafted him, I'll give him a little more respect. All right. So let's go team by team. I don't want to do. Let's just go certain teams. I'm going to do a video on the AFC and a video on the NFC because it'll take too long. So let's just pick a few teams here. Atlanta. They get Jalen Walker, the edge from Georgia, great pick. Then they follow it up with James Pierce from edge from Tennessee, great pick, probably the steal of the draft. Then you got Xavier Watts, safety from Notre Dame. I don't know, but Notre Dame's defense have been pretty good, except for in the championship game to Ohio State. Billy Bowman, safety from Oklahoma. Okay, Oklahoma, pretty good defense. Jack Nelson. See, round 7, Atlanta takes Jack Nelson, a O-lineman from Wisconsin, in the 7th round, who is as good as anybody in the 1st or 2nd round. A starter from Wisconsin. That's the point of when you take your lineman. Look what they did. They took all the defense. They waited on the lineman until the 7th round, and that's it. Profit. The Raiders could have had both Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard in the draft, but they decided to go with some high school players. Well, and this is the problem. Who's their GM? What idiot is their GM? And the point is, you have no idea if the kid from Montana is any good against good competition. Against Division II, he might be very good. Let's see him against Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. And then let's see him in the pros. There was a draft. I believe it was Tom Brady's draft. And the 49ers took some guy from, Montana State, Giovanni somebody. And it was that idiot Mariucci. And they interview him, and he says, well, I guess the bright lights were too much for him. Yeah, you think? Then why did you draft a guy out of New Mexico or Montana State or North Dakota State? Why would you draft a guy and then you say the lights are too bright for him? And you could have had Tom Brady, who couldn't have been worse than the guy. See, this is what these guys do. They go small school, but the competition is not close. You know, we talk about horse racing once in a while about competition. Can you handle going up a level? So you got a racehorse, horse race, whatever. You got a horse, and he runs against weaker competition, and he wins. And then you move him up in class, and he comes in fifth because you can't handle it. This is the problem when you take these guys out of North Dakota State who never pan out, and here in Montana. What are you talking about? You've got to be able to understand the player. You see, here's where the problem is. They're looking at analytics too much. So when they look at analytics, they're not looking at his skill set and his heart and his soul. Like Joe Montana would not lose, right? You could see that in Notre Dame. When he'd get down in a game, he'd win the game for you. Specifically the Cotton Bowl when he was down 30-10 to Houston, and they won 31-30. That's what you're looking for, is that they're going to win. They don't want to lose. And that's not what they do now. The GMs do not understand that. They do not look at that intangible. They just look at, well, he runs a 4.4 40 and he can throw the ball 90 yards. Richardson, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, they're not winners. And then you lose, and then what happens is you get fired, and then what does the team do? They lose because you got a quarterback with his head up his ass. And Geno Smith's one of them. If I go through the teams, let's do that now. Let's see who's got a good quarterback. Teams. Arizona, Kyler Murray, okay, he's a little bit above average, but that's analytics. He's fast. He runs a lot. He doesn't win. Atlanta, Penix, yes, they got a superstar. Baltimore, Lamar, he doesn't win. He chokes. He's not a very good quarterback. He's fast, but he doesn't have that I know how to win mentality. I know how to read a defense. I think he's stupid. Buffalo, Josh Allen, he's not really there either, but he's learning how to win, but he's okay. But he's more of a runner also. Carolina, Bryce Young's terrible. The Bears, Caleb, he's terrible. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, he's God. Cleveland, now we'll see. I think Gabriel has that instinct. He's a winner. He won at Oregon. He won at Oklahoma. So I think Cleveland's in good hands with that. If they go to Prime Junior, they're fucked. Anytime they start Prime Junior, we're betting against them, and you can bet on 3 interceptions in the game. Dallas, Dak Prescott, they're in trouble. They got rid of Cooper Rush, which is a mistake. Now, if Baltimore starts Cooper Rush, then I will start betting Baltimore. Dak Prescott's terrible. And again, they haven't realized he stinks. He has the analytics. He's fast. His arm's not that good, but he can't read a defense, and he makes a lot of turnovers. In a big game, doesn't show up. You watch, Philly will kill him both games this year, and they're not going to beat Washington this year. So I'm not buying Prescott. He's been injured a lot, and he's never really been a winner. He didn't win at Old Mississippi State either. So they need a quarterback, but they don't realize they need a quarterback. They did it with analytics instead of seeing the guy's a choke. Denver, Bo Nix, love it. Detroit, Goff is a choke. Green Bay, Jordan Love, what the fuck were you picking him in the first round for? I think that was a huge mistake. He's had some decent games, but I think it's more the coaching and the offense than him. Houston, C.J. Stroud, Ohio State, analytics. He's fast. He doesn't know which jersey he's throwing to. They had him. Here's a perfect example of him. Against the Lions, they were up big. In the game, the Lions came back, and they're up big, and then he just lobs the ball into the end zone, and he gets picked off. When if he fires it in, it's a touchdown. They win the game, and He just lobs it up. He gets picked, and that's it. So C.J. Stroud, he's a choke. What did he do at Ohio State? How many big games did he win? Oh, yeah, none. Lost to Michigan. Yeah, not a winner. Indy, Richardson's terrible. Jacksonville, that's a perfect example of analytics with Trevor Lawrence. You can't throw. He can't read. He likes to run. So he's a good runner. Yeah, and how is that done? Have they won any divisions? Have they won any playoff games? Yeah. I think they beat San Diego because San Diego choked. KC, you got Mahomes. He's God. San Diego, Herbert, very good. Rams, Stafford, very good. Oakland, big fucking trouble. Geno Smith is not a winner. Miami, Tagliabue is a choke, not a winner. Minnesota, I don't like, what's his name? What is it? The guy from Michigan, J.J. McCarthy. What is he? Who is he? What has he done? Yeah, I saw him get killed by Georgia in that one game, in the championship game, or I don't even know it was a champ. I think it was just a playoff game. And all right, give him credit for beating Ohio State once, but all he did was hand the ball off, and they ran it down the throat. There's the Penn State game. He didn't. The whole second half, they ran the ball. So you got a superstar quarterback, and you're going to run the ball the whole second half? Minnesota is going to be disappointing this year. New England, again, Drake May is just simply a running back. I mean, they're not going to do anything. New Orleans, Hayner's their best quarterback. I don't know what's going on with him. Carr's injured, and then drafting Shaw. I don't think Shaw's all that. The Giants, Daniel Jones, he was all analytics. He can run. I got a quarterback. I need a guy who can throw the ball. Now we'll see how they are. I don't really like Jackson Dart. He can run, but he can't throw. The JETSs, what are you going to do? You let Aaron Rodgers go. You've got no quarterback. Are you going to go to Fields, who, again, can run and can't throw? Again, the Ohio State system that produces nothing in the pros. It's not a pro system. Why do you keep drafting quarterbacks out of there and they all suck? Philadelphia, you're not going to win. You're winning because you're defense in Berkeley. You're not going to win with Jalen Hurts. Very weak quarterback. Again, analytics, he's fast. What did he do at Oklahoma? Nothing. Alabama, he couldn't even finish the championship game. He was choking it up. It's not a guy you want, right? They won because of the defense, not because of him. Pittsburgh, they got Will Howard now. He's good, and you've got a good running back. So we'll see. We'll go through Pitt. But Russell Wilson, I thought, was a winner, won a Super Bowl. I was surprised they let him go. Seattle, you got big trouble with Sam Darnold. Got into the big games and choked against Lions, choked against the Rams. Not a good quarterback. The 49ers, I don't mind Brock Purdy. He was good at Iowa State, and he was good. He got to the Super Bowl, so I don't have a problem with him. Tampa, the Baker's been playing better. He was pretty good. He went into Ohio State at Oklahoma and planted the flag. I like that. That was good. Tennessee, you're not winning with Cam Ward. What has he done? He went into Syracuse and lost. He's not a winner. And at Washington State, he was terrible. And then Washington has the best. Jalen Daniels, not the best. He's in the top 5. And that guy is he's got it all. You saw it at LSU. He put up 50 points on Georgia. They lost by 20, but he has the unique ability to run, and you can't touch him. And then he's a good thrower. That is what my guy Jordan McLeod at Texas State is a lot like Daniels. Now, he might not have been in the draft, because how could you not draft that guy and draft Prime Jr. and Dart? You've got to be kidding me. All right, so let's go to Baltimore, and let's see. Maliki Starks, safety for Georgia. Okay, what does Baltimore need? Well, they need a quarterback. You've got Henry. You need some receivers. Really, your problem's defense. Even though you've got good defense, I think your big problem is your head coach is terrible. So good pick in Starks. Mike Green, edge, Marshall. I like it, I guess. I don't know. Marshall had a pretty good defense last year. Emory Jones, offensive tackle, LSU, third round. Okay, I'll give it to him in the third round. Again, here's a starter from LSU. You can pick him in the third round. He's just as good as anybody in the first round. He started at LSU. Don't tell me he can't play. Teddy Buchanan, a defensive lineman out of Cal. I question out of Cal, not your defensive school. Okay. Carson Vincent, offensive lineman, Alabama A&M. Are you kidding me? This is the fifth round. Now, I don't mind him taking an offensive lineman there, but Alabama A&M. I mean, unless he went to Alabama and didn't make it because of his grades or something. Belial Cone, defensive back, Western Michigan. Yeah, he won't be on the team. Tyler Loop, a kicker from Arizona. Don't you have the best kicker in the league? Why are you taking this guy? LeJonte Wester, wide receiver. They have 5 wide receivers from Colorado drifted, and none of them are any good. Aeneas Peoples, defensive tackle, West Virginia. Okay, maybe. Robert Lungerbeam, defensive back, Rutgers. He ain't making your team. Garrett Dellington, offensive lineman, LSU. If he was a starter, this is when you take your offensive lineman. 7th round from LSU, probably a starter, is just as good as any of the other linemen. All right, so that's Baltimore. I don't know. It's like a C. You got a few players. Let's look at Buffalo. Maxwell Harrison, cornerback from Kentucky. Seriously? First round? TJ, what is Buffalo? Why do they keep losing to Kansas City? They don't have Philadelphia's defense. They got Josh Allen. They got running. They got receiving. They also need a coach. Their coach is terrible, but they need more to defense. They had Von Miller, but he got hurt. Profit. Raiders GM will probably say the reason they took Cam Miller is because he won a national championship. Did he really? Okay. Is he a runner or a thrower? How many yards did he throw for? How many interceptions and touchdowns? So if that's the case, why didn't they take Will Howard? Exactly. Good point. All right. TJ Sanders, defensive tackle, South Carolina. I didn't know South Carolina had a good defense. Maybe. But, okay. You need edge rushers to get to Mahomes, by the way. Here you go. Landon Jackson, an edge from Arkansas. All right. Arkansas wasn't the greatest defense. Have you heard of a school called Iowa State, Oregon, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Ohio State? Those are where you get your defense from. All right. Round 4, Deion Walker, defensive lineman from Kentucky. Now, I follow football like a motherfucker. I'm not buying taking defensive guys from Kentucky. Not last year. Round 5, Jordan Hancock, defensive back, Ohio State. Okay, not bad if he was a starter. Jackson Haas, tight end, Georgia Tech. I like this pick because it's Georgia Tech. Very good coach. Dorian Strong, cornerback, Virginia Tech. Chase Lunt, O-lineman, Connecticut. Okay, I like the lineman. I'm not crazy about from Connecticut, but okay. Caden Prater, wide receiver from Maryland. So as you see, Buffalo took a lot of defense. I don't know if they're any good, but they took a lot because they're playing to beat Mahomes. Let's look at the Bears. Tight end out of Michigan, first round. I hate the pick. You got bigger worries like your quarterback. See, this is the problem. They think they have a good quarterback because they drafted him first overall, and just like Ryan Leaf. So I guess we're stuck with him for 5 years till we figure out he can't play. Like Mitch Trubisky, like Fields. they'll hold on to him for 5 years because they drafted him first. And they got to live with the fact they didn't take Jalen Daniels or Penix. Loveland, okay, who knows? Who are you going to throw the ball to? You got DJ Moore or you got Loveland. Who are you throwing the ball to? It doesn't work in the pros. And Caleb's not qualified to find him. You can only read the first guy, and he'll be dancing around. Luther Burden, Missouri, good player, but you got Caleb. Ozzie Trapullo, offensive tackle, BC, round 2. I would have drafted him later. Okay, maybe that helps. So it looks like you need offense because you're the offensive coordinator of the Lions. So you're going to go with that playbook. Okay. Round 2, Shamir Turner, and I guess he's a defensive player because it doesn't say what he is. He's 6'4", 290. So let's call him a defensive end. All right, the Bears could use defense. Ruben Hippolat, linebacker from Maryland. I have no idea. Zay Fraser, defensive back, UTSA. Okay, I like UTSA, not for defense, for offense. I love their quarterback. Luke Newman, offensive lineman, Michigan State. And Kyle Manangi, running back from Rutgers. I'd say this is a terrible draft. Loveland doesn't solve it. I like their receiver from Missouri better. All right, who's next? Well, let's look at Joe Burrow. Shemar Stewart, defensive lineman from A&M. This is not the best defensive lineman from A&M. They didn't get the right guy. He's not very good. Demetrius Knight, defensive lineman, South Carolina. Okay, they need defense, so I don't mind this pick. Dylan Fairchild, an offensive lineman from Georgia. They do need offensive linemen. See, perfect. Round 3, an offensive lineman from Georgia. He's as good as excuse me. He's good. So this is my point. This is when you take offensive linemen in the 3rd round. You can't. Once these stud defensive players and running backs are gone, they're gone. And this is what's so confusing with the quarterbacks and running backs. They weren't taken until the 5th, 6th, 7th round. What are you kidding me? And you took a bunch of linemen that you don't need in these rounds. Now, 3rd round, all right, I know Burrow needs some protection. He's got Higgins and he's got Chase, and now he's got the running back he needs. Barrett Carter, linebacker, Clemson. Clemson didn't have the greatest defense, but okay. Jalen Rivers, offensive lineman from Miami. Okay. Good picks. Tajay Brook, running back, Texas Tech, A+ on that pick. So now you've got Burrow and Chase and Higgins, and now you've got Ty Brook, great running back. You've got 2 or 3 offensive linemen, which you needed, and then you got 3 or 4 defensive players. Now, I don't know what you did free agency. Probably nothing because you had to sign Higgins and Chase. But you got the key. You got Joe Burrow, and now he's got his running back. In the 6th round, you get a 1st-round running back. What the fuck is going on with these guys? This guy was high on my list. He was 1, 2, 3. There was Gentry, Scatterboo, Neal, Jackson from Iowa, and Brooks was number 5. Unbelievable. So I don't know what's going on here, but you got morons at the controls. Cleveland, we got to look at because they did so much. They start with Mason Graham. Now, what does Cleveland need? Really, they need a quarterback. They were a playoff team 2 years ago. They did beat Baltimore thanks to Lamar choking. Okay, they got Myles Garrett. Now they had Graham, who is a good – I watched the Ohio State game. He actually made a few plays. So this guy's not bad. So you've got Graham with Garrett. Really tight defense. Is that going to help you against Lamar? Maybe. Is that going to help you against Pittsburgh? Is that going to help you against Joe Burrow? You're still fucked against Joe Burrow. But we'll see. Because with whatchamacallit, they couldn't beat Burrow. So I don't know. Then you got Carson Swesswinger from UCLA. Excellent pick. He was 2 years ago, UCLA had a great defense, and they had the twins at defensive tackle. I don't know where they went. This guy was great. Then the defensive coordinator went to USC. He bails on him, but this guy stayed. This guy's very good. So Cleveland's now got Myles Garrett. They got Graham. They got a good linebacker. They've had other players. We will see. However, they still need a coach. Then here's where I question, they get the wrong running back from Ohio State, Junkins, instead of getting Henderson. I think a huge mistake. This guy is not very good. Then they get Harold Fanning, the best receiver in college football last year with 1,700 yards. He's the number one guy, not the guy from Arizona. So good pick. So now they're starting to get some offense and their defense. Dylan Gabriel, he's Pro Bowl quarterback for the next 10 years. Great pick. Dylan Sampson now, running back from Tennessee. So they get the running back from Ohio State who really isn't good. Sampson, this is what's frustrating. Second round, they get this guy. And in the fourth round, they get a better running back, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. This guy just has a nose for the offense, for the end zone, first downs, good receiver. He's better than the Ohio State guy. Then you get Prime Jr. What are they thinking? How many quarterbacks do you need? I don't understand it. This makes zero sense to me. He's not good anyway. He's not in Gabriel's class. Gabriel's in the playoffs, winning all these big games. Prime Jr.'s losing, getting killed by Oregon, getting killed by Washington, getting killed by BYU, and Kansas killed them. Yeah, I don't understand that. And that's it. So excellent draft, except for Prime Jr. for Cleveland. You got the running back, Sampson. You got Dylan Gabriel, takes care of your quarterbacks. You can get that. You got Fannin, a tight end from Bowling Green, who's a great receiver. And you've got a linebacker from UCLA who's outstanding in Michigan. So a very good draft. Now, do you have a coach? At the end of the day, the real problem with the drafts is the coach. If you got a lousy coach, it doesn't matter who you draft because he doesn't know how to coach him. So if you look at Miami and you look at Carolina, New Orleans, they don't have coaches. It doesn't matter who they could draft Superman. He ain't helping you. All right. Let's go to Denver. Let's see what toys we got with Bo Nix this year. We got Jaden Barron, cornerback from Texas. Okay, you're playing Mahomes, you're playing Herbert. You need some more defense, although they have a very good defense. R.J. Harvey, running back UCF, beautiful, great, 1,600-yard guy. Pat Bryan, wide receiver, Illinois, probably a possession receiver, which would fit in with Bo Nix. Savion Jones, defensive line, LSU, perfect third round, perfect pick. So it helps their defense. They need help on defense, but he's from LSU. You know he's a great athlete. Q Robinson, defensive lineman, Alabama. I'm not crazy about them. They're not very good, but fourth round, you take a chance. He's a flyer. You're drafting a punter, Jeremy Crenshaw from Florida. What the fuck is this about? In the sixth round. Okay. Seventh round, Caleb Lohner, tight end, Utah. Utah players are great. I didn't see a lot of defense from Utah, which is a huge mistake. They had excellent defense. So, okay, tight end, good pick. He'll be a star. So, again, their later picks are better. Detroit, they really fucked up. Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle, Ohio State, terrible pick. He wasn't the guy at Ohio State. Tate Ratledge, O-lineman from Georgia in the second round. You drafted him too early. Isaac Tesla, wide receiver, Arkansas, with 20 catches. Really? In the third round? Really? Oh, but he's fast. Yeah, okay, but he can't catch. Miles Frazier, O lineman from LSU. So they got a Georgia and okay. I didn't know they need offensive linemen, but okay. By the way, you need defense, guys. So who have you got on defense? You took a defensive tackle from Ohio State. They did have a good defense. I don't mind it, but we'll see if he gets on the field. I doubt it. Then they got Ahmad Hanasson, defensive lineman from Boise in the 6th round. I don't know. Boise, did they have a good defense? I would have rather seen you get a guy from UNLV if you're going there. They had a good defense. Boise's defense wasn't that good. Dan Jackson, safety from Georgia. Anybody from Georgia is good. I notice how they listen to me because I bitch at them about taking Alabama players and go, have you ever heard of Georgia? And he took 2 guys from Georgia this draft. So he discovered there's a Georgia. This is probably a backup because it's round 7, but he'll help. I mean, he'll be good, but they're very strong safety. They need corners, they need linebackers and defensive ends, and they didn't get any of those. Dominic Lovett, another guy from Georgia, who's another backup. Okay, I like him better than I like better than Isaac Tesla with 20 receptions. Now, I don't know what this Dominic Lovett had. Carson Beck, he'll be okay. I'm not sure. I think what this GM for the Lions tries to do is get speed. He just likes fast players. If they can catch or not, or if they can run routes or not, he has no idea. He just looks at their speed. So I'm not quite sure on these guys. Other than they went to Georgia, so they're good picks. I can see Dan Jackson making the team from Georgia up there with the Ohio State guy. They'll probably be the 2 on defense. Not a lot of help. They're not going to beat Washington or Philly with this joke. Green Bay, I don't know what they did. Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. Do you need wide receivers? You need defense. You don't need wide receivers. You got this whole offensive scheme. Anthony Belton, wasted pick, round 2, offensive tackle, NC State. Do you need offensive tackles because you couldn't figure out how to block the Lions in that game? Or I don't know, taking them way too high. Then you go to another wide receiver from TCU, Savion Williams, 6'5", 225, so he's the ball control guy. Then you go to Texas, Baron Sorrell, defensive lineman, Texas. Okay, I like this. Texas had a good defense last year. Colin Oliver, linebacker, Oak State. Okay, that maybe he can make the team. You're pretty good at linebacker. You need defensive line. Here you go, defensive lineman. Georgia, there you go. Warren, good pick. Micah Robinson, DB from Tulane. Probably not bad. Tulane had a pretty good defense. John Williams, old lineman, Cincinnati. I don't know. Probably okay. So not a bad draft. However, I didn't know they needed receivers that badly. Let's go to Kansas City and see what Mr. Mahomes gets. He gets Josh Simmons, an offensive tackle, Ohio State. Only because it's Mahomes will I allow this, because you should never take an offensive lineman in the 1st round. But okay, I don't know how good he is. Ohio State didn't show up to a lot of games, so I'm not sure. Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle, Tennessee. Love this pick. Tennessee with a killer defense. Ashton Gillette, defensive lineman, Louisville. I like this. Noel Williams, DB, California. Only because it's KC do I have faith in this. Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah State. Utah State didn't impress me. Jeffrey Bassa, DL, Oregon, good pick. Brashard Smith, running back, SMU. I don't know this guy. SMU had the running quarterback. They didn't really have a strong running attack as they showed against Penn State. They couldn't run the ball. So it looks like Kansas City stocked up on defense. You got Mahomes. I was surprised they didn't go for Scatterboo. That would have put him in the Super Bowl. better than this Brashad Smith guy. So not bad. You got some good linemen. Again, it looks like they're going after linemen. San Diego. Omari and Hampton. I don't like that as a first-round pick from North Carolina. Trey Harris, wide receiver, Mississippi. I'm not sure. Mississippi receivers weren't superstars. Jamari Caldwell, defensive lineman, Oregon. I like this pick. Kyle Kennard, South Carolina. We don't know what he is. 6'5", 254. I would assume he's a linebacker. I don't know. They don't give anything of who he is. Keandre Lambert-Smith, wide receiver, Auburn. Big question mark there. Oronde Gadsden, tight end, Syracuse. You could have had Brock Bowers, and you're fucking around with a guy from Syracuse. Branson Taylor, O-lineman, Pitt. That's when you take your O-lineman in the 6th round. DB from Clemson, R.J. Mickens in the 6th round. Trick Wheezy Bridges, cornerback from Florida. I don't know. Florida wasn't that good of a team last year. Okay for San Diego. Are we going to be betting them? Now, you got to understand, I look at this as, are we betting this team or not? Did this help? Are we going to make bets based on the draft? I'm not looking at how talented a guy is, but I look at the school, because if you're drafting defense from Georgia, that's a good draft, or Iowa, Iowa State, Oregon, Utah. That's what I'm looking at. I don't want a defensive guy from, Purdue. I mean, fuck, they gave up 40 points a game. What kind of defense did they have? They had shit defense. I don't want a guy from Purdue. All right, let's look at the Rams. Terrence Ferguson, tight end, Oregon. Very strange pick. I don't understand it at all. Josiah Stewart from Michigan. I don't know what he is. I think he's a defensive guy, maybe a linebacker. I don't know. It doesn't give a position. But he's 6'1", 245. He's probably a linebacker. Jarquez Hunter, running back from Auburn. They don't really need running backs, so I don't know what this is about. Ty Hamilton, defensive lineman, Ohio State. I like that. Chris Paul, linebacker, Ole Miss. They had a very good defense. I like that. Ate Mumfield, wide receiver, Pitt. I don't know. I don't know if he's any good. So, decent thing for the Rams. Again, I don't know this running back from Auburn is going to make the team. And the tight end, the first pick, a tight end from Oregon, he wasn't the player. The player that they wanted is the guy in the 7th round, the receiver who went. He was the stud. All right, for all you guys, let's look at Oakland. Ashton Gentry, beautiful pick. Best running back. Jack Beck, TCU, okay. The fact he's from TCU, I'll give him credit for being a good running back because they have great offenses there. So, again, what do we need? Well, we need a quarterback we don't have. We pick up a running back, which will balance the field with Brock Bowers, so it's a good idea. A wide receiver, okay, he's probably 6'2", 215, Feberlinikoff. We got Darian Porter, cornerback, Iowa State. I like that. So you got Max Crosby. Then we got Caleb Rogers, O-lineman, Texas Tech. I like that. You're getting him in the 3rd round. Charles Grant, offensive tackle, William and Mary. Really? William and Mary. Jesus, what is Oakland with these guys from these small colleges? Dante Thornton, wide receiver, Tennessee. Terrible pick. Terrible pick. What are you doing? He had no catches. He was nothing. Tonka Hemingway, defensive lineman, South Carolina. Okay, 4th round. Okay. J.J. Peggs, defensive tackle, Mississippi. I like Mississippi's defense. So we went after defense. Okay. Tommy Mellett, Montana State, and Cam Miller doesn't even have a pitcher from North Dakota State. I don't understand that. Maybe it's Coach Pete guys that he recruited at USC who are now coming up. Cody Lindberger, defensive lineman, Minnesota. I like that. Many had a good defense. So I don't know what they're doing. You could have had Dylan Gabriel and solved your quarterback problems. Now you're stuck with now you're stuck with Geno Smith. All right, let's go to the JETSs. We'll skip down. I don't want to do every team. Like I said, I'll do AFC and NFC on separate videos later. Armand Membo, offensive tackle, Missouri in the first round. You've got to be out of your fucking mind. The Jets are out of their fucking minds. Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU. Second round. Who's your quarterback, by the way? Oh, yeah, Fields or Winston or who you got? Azira Thomas, third round, cornerback, Florida State. You need offense, Andy. You need a quarterback. Arian Smith, wide receiver, Georgia. This is like the fifth wide receiver from Georgia. Hate to break it to you. They didn't have that. Could have been offense last year. So this is their fourth round pick. Malaki Moore, defensive back, Alabama. I hate it. Francisco Managua, defensive lineman, Miami. Okay. Tyler Barron, defensive lineman from Miami. Really? So you're taking defensive lineman in Miami, round pick 24 and pick 38. You know what, boys? Miami did not have a good defense last year. Now, if these guys were from Ole Miss or Tennessee, I'd get it. What the fuck are you taking defensive lineman from Miami for? You can see the coach is the defensive coach from the Lions who sucked with the 30 defense. If Barron and if these guys from Miami start, you're in big trouble. DB from Alabama, you're in big trouble. Wide receiver from Georgia who didn't play. Cornerback from Florida State. Tight end LSU. And an offensive tackle. This is a Z. This is a terrible draft. We will be betting against the Jets every week. They might not win a game unless they play Carolina. This is ridiculous. Defense wasn't your problem. You had a defensive coach, the bald guy from San Francisco. Yep, Sauce Gardner, I believe. Where's he on Philadelphia now? What's the point of having an offensive tackle when you don't have a quarterback? This team will not. They'll win, make 3 games. Philadelphia we'll look at, but I think we've looked at it. Campbell, linebacker, Alabama, I don't like. Makubo, defense, a cornerback from Texas, I like. Philly went after a lot of defense. Ty Robinson, defensive tackle, Nebraska. Mac McWilliams, DB, UCF, maybe. Samuel Morton, linebacker from Georgia. Okay, you got to like him from Georgia. Drew Kendall, O-lineman, BC. Kyle McCord from Syracuse. What are you, fucked up? You're taking this guy? This guy's terrible. Miles Hinton, O-lineman, Michigan. This is the perfect pick. 6th round. Miles Hinton. Was he a starter? I assume he was a starter. Is going to be just as good as the first round guy that the Jets took. Only you get him in the 6th round, not the 1st round. Really? I mean, this guy started for Michigan. Do you think he's not good? He started for Michigan. Cameron Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. Perfect. Right out of the playbook. Perfect. Those 2 guys will start for you, and you got him in the 6th round. Antoine Powell Ryland, defensive lineman, V-Tech. I don't know about V-Tech. So they got a lot of defense, and they got their offensive lineman that they needed in the 6th round from Michigan and from, what was the other guy? From Texas. Perfect. That's how you draft. That's why they win Super Bowls. They got Barkley. Hurts is terrible. They got the receivers. So they pick up 2 linemen from Michigan and Texas, not from Sam Houston State and Joe Montana State. All right. My favorite here is Pitt. We did Atlanta, I believe. Derek Harmon, the number 1 defensive tackle in the country, goes to Pittsburgh. Beautiful pick. Caleb Johnson, running back, Iowa. Perfect, because they need a running back. Jack Sawyer, edge from Ohio State. He was their team captain. Great pick. Yaha Black, defensive lineman, Iowa. Oh, they're drafting guys from Iowa on defense. How about that? Ohio State, Iowa. Pitt gets it, right? Pitt understands. That's why Pitt's always good. They get where you draft from. Will Howard, Ohio State. Beautiful pick. Now they got their quarterback. And if Aaron Rodgers comes, he watches Aaron Rodgers for a year. If he doesn't come, fuck him. Carson Bruner, defensive lineman, Washington, 7th round. What a beautiful pick. Dante Kent, cornerback, Central Michigan, probably pretty good. And let's not forget they got Jack Lambert from another MAC school, so that's okay. Great draft for Pittsburgh. Will Howard won a national champ. Jack Sawyer, Caleb Johnson, they got running. They've got the good defensive tackle now to go with TJ Watt. Did they get a receiver? Because they need receiver. They didn't get a receiver. They got DK Metcalf. So there you go. Did I do Atlanta? Let me go back and do Atlanta. I thought I did. They had the best draft. Yeah, Walker from Georgia. Pierce. Yeah, I did Atlanta. All right. Anybody else? Let's look at San Francisco. Now they need everything, right? All their players are getting old at the same time. So they get Michael Williams, an edge from Georgia with the 11th pick. Beautiful. Great. Now they're fine. Right there, they're healed. Then you go after Alfred Collins, a defensive tackle from Texas. Your defensive line's set with 2 guys, and you still have other guys on the team. Then we had Nick Martin, defensive lineman, Oak State. Your defense is fine. Then we got Upton Scott, a defensive backup from Western Kentucky, who's usually a throwing team, so that's good. C.J. West, defensive lineman from Indiana. Jordan Watkins, wide receiver, Ole Miss, questionable. Jordan James, running back from Oregon. What a great pick that is to go with McCaffrey. He was a stud at Oregon. Marquise Siegel, a DB from Kansas State. You know they play great defense. Them in Iowa State. Curtis Rourke, quarterback from Indiana. What a great pick. He's better than what they got. And Connor Colby, an O-lineman from Iowa. Oh, and more. Junior Bergen, wide receiver from Montana, as a throw-in. Great draft. That's how you draft. You don't fuck around with an offensive lineman in the 5th pick or the 6th pick. And then our last is we're going to look at Washington. What did we get for Daniels? We got an offensive tackle from Oregon, only because it's Daniels, I'll allow it. Trey Amos, cornerback from Ole Miss. Okay, they had a good defense. I don't mind it. Jalen Land, wide receiver, V-Tech. He better be good. Kane Mendrano, defensive lineman, UCLA. I like that. Jacoby Crossett, Merritt. An H-back from Arizona. They weren't very good last year. So he got a lineman and he got a receiver and some defense. So can Washington beat Philly? No, not yet. And that's pretty much our draft. I'll do an offense. I'll do an AFC, NFC separate, only that. Boom, later today, tomorrow, whatever. So again, I would assume McLeod and Morris weren't in the draft because they're at the small schools and maybe they got a big payday to move up. But Jordan McLeod's very good. I still can't believe Sam Hartman isn't on the team. Guy was great at Wake Forest, goes to Notre Dame, and all of a sudden he can't play. And some of these guys that got drafted that Oakland took, you could have Sam Hartman. I don't get it. Profit. So who do you think had the best overall? I'm going to say it's Atlanta and Pittsburgh. They're right up there. San Francisco had a great draft. I'm looking at it. They what they needed and what they drafted are two different things. So, like Green Bay, I don't like their draft because they didn't need receivers. Oakland, I'd give an A+ if they would have drafted uh, even Will Howard, but you had Dylan Gabriel. What the fuck are you relying on Geno Smith? That reminds me of Kirk Cousins last year, right? Atlanta trades for Kirk Cousins. Why? What games did he lost to the fucking Giants in the playoffs at home? Um, so what have you seen with Geno Smith that says he's any good? Oh, we're going to go to the Super Bowl with Geno Smith, or is he just cheap? I don't know. You got Coach Pete. You're wasting him with this quarterback. Now, Coach Pete wants to run the ball and play defenses. Now with Gentry, he can run the ball. Needs some more defense, but okay. Maybe he picked up some free agents, and maybe Oakland had some defensive players on the team last year. The biggest thing you must understand about the draft is these teams already have a team, right? Cincinnati, you're not making it as a receiver or quarterback on that team. The running back, okay, and maybe some of the line positions, but they already have a team. Cincinnati's got 8 offensive linemen. Now, they're not very good, and they probably got rid of 1 or 2 who suck. Maybe 1 or 2 can even, these guys maybe make the team. Only a handful are really going to help you, right? So, Gentry, yeah, he'll help Oakland, but they have a very good running back from UTSA who finally started to play. San Diego got a receiver. Well, you got Devontae Adams and you got Pukanuka. Where's this guy going? He ain't playing. So a lot of these players, that's why you have to take positions that are needed in the first 2 or 3 rounds. That's where the skill is. But what's happening is these guys are fucked up. And like Cleveland, they don't have a running back. So they get Dylan Sampson in the 7th round, who's their starter. But that's only because they didn't have. But why didn't they have? Because Nick Chubb got hurt, and they let Hunt go back to Kansas City. So that's really where the problems lie, is filling your need. That's what the draft's about. I need a cornerback. I better take 3 cornerbacks, and hopefully one of them works out. You can't trust Alabama guys. They never work out. Georgia guys tend to. But you're not getting, if you're a decent team, you're Kansas City, maybe 2 of your picks stick. And those are linemen that you need. Maybe they're good because the guys they have were drafted high, right? You got Mahomes, you need linemen, and they're not working out. Well, okay, let's try these guys. But that's why you don't waste the 1st-round pick on a lineman. There's nothing about a lineman that's any good until they get in the game. Can they read the guy coming over the middle? Can they handle the speed of the NFL? You don't know that. That's why you don't waste a 1st-round pick on an all lineman. You waste it on a good quarterback or a good running back that is NFL ready. That's why I like Scatterboot, because he's a big guy, break tackles. He should play on a team. Now, the Giants have so few NFL players. So you can tell when a team, Philadelphia, Kansas City, those teams, you're not making the team. They're pretty solid. But the weak teams, the Giants and, Carolina, that just draft anybody, that's how bad their GMs are. They don't even have NFL players on their team. I think Geno Smith's contract has 1-year trade option on it. Well, he just traded from Seattle to Oakland. I don't really see. I don't know. I'm not smelling it. I would have gotten the Rock and Stone Cold ahead of that time. I don't know. Most of these, that's why you draft an offensive lineman in the 5th or 6th round, because there's guys that you need on your team, cornerbacks and edge rushers. Edge rushers are critical. That's the only way to beat a Mahomes, is the way Philadelphia did it. But they got Jalen Carter, so you ain't making the Philadelphia team on the D line. All right. I mean, they're solid at linebacker. They're solid at D line. They got receivers. They got running back. They're not letting Jalen Hurts go. So you just got drafted to Philly. Where are you going to play? You ain't making the team. You may be a 4th or 5th stringer is it? Because the guys on the team are making money. This is the part that you got to get. You're making $5 million to be the backup safety. You're not losing your spot to a rookie who may be making a pay cut because he's coming out of NIL. This is your living. You are not letting this guy beat you out. This is what you must understand about this whole draft thing. You have no idea, right? Prime Jr. has no chance on Cleveland, right? Dylan Gabriel is much, much better, played in a much better system at Oklahoma, at Oregon, even at UCF. There is no way he's letting Prime Jr. beat him out. And then what's Prime Jr. going to do? He won't make the team. Just because he got drafted, he ain't going to make the team. They're not going to keep a 4th-string quarterback. Costs too much. Prophet, when's the last time the Raiders drafted a franchise quarterback? You've got to go all the way back to Ken Stabler. Yeah, I mean, they didn't draft Jim Plunkett. He was drafted by by New England, I think. Yeah, well, recently, yeah, I mean, Derek Carr, maybe or David Carr, Derek Carr. I think they drafted Derek Carr, who was really good at Fresno State. But you can see they don't want to pay. That's why they draft linemen in the first. Teams that don't want to pay draft linemen in the first round. An offensive lineman will be lucky to make your team. The Lions drafted 2 offensive linemen. They won't even make the team. If they do, they won't even see the field because they've got guys. So you're drafting backups. What you don't have to draft them, just take them free agent. So I don't see it just because you have 5 or 10 picks. All I can say is you draft guys out of Ohio State and Georgia because these are basically playing against better competition and have a better chance of make your team. That's why I bitch about the guys going from Montana State. Who have they played? So, if you think either of these guys the Raiders drafted are going to make the team, you're out of your mind. And if they do make the team, they're not ready for this. Wait till they see some of these defensive linemen come out of them. There's no way they're going to be any good. Rich Gannon came from Minnesota. Carr was a good regular season quarterback, never did well in the playoffs. Well, you don't blame Carr because of the playoffs. It's your defense. I mean, look at the Baltimore Ravens won with Joe Flacco. It had nothing to do with Joe Flacco. The Giants won with Phil Simms. It had nothing to do with Simms. It was Lawrence Taylor. And the same thing with Dallas won with Troy Aikman. He wasn't any good. And then what was the other? Tampa won with that guy who sucked, Trent Dilfer. I mean, if you have the defense, you win with it. Look at Philadelphia this year. They didn't win because of Hurts. Hurts sucked. They didn't win because of Barkley. They won because of their defense. Kansas City couldn't do shit. And if you stop Mahomes, you can stop anybody. So look for Philadelphia to be very dangerous the next 3 or 4 years just because they have Barkley and this killer defense. from Georgia. And that's why I bitch about getting Georgia guys, because they know how to win. And that defense gave up 7 points a fucking game in a whole year in college football. You don't think they got talent? It's all correlated, right? But the Raiders didn't win because they didn't have a defense. And the years they won with Marcus Allen, who was their quarterback, Plunkett, he didn't throw 5 passes in the Super Bowl. Marcus Allen ran all over him, and Lester Hayes and Willie Hall had all the interceptions. The Niners, even with Montana, when they had Ronnie Lott and Hacksaw Reynolds and all those guys, is when they won. Fred Dean. No matter who you got, Brady never won without a good defense. The Steelers, all they have is defense. So you've got to understand, you must have defense. That's why when you draft an offensive lineman, I've never seen it work. I've never seen he comes in and he's any good, and all of a sudden you have an offense. You have an offense because you have a good quarterback with a good running back. You have balance. Like the Lions, you think Goff's a good quarterback? He sucks. But because they have the running back and the receivers and a good line, they can win with the Goff until you get into the big games, and then he doesn't show up. All right, a real quick change. I've got to show you this thing on this Treasury Secretary Bassert. You'll understand when I show it. This is a guy running the Treasury, right? So listen to this.
Mosaic, and it is the depth and breadth of our capital and credit markets that powers the U.S. economy, and it's the innovation there. I think that private credit's a very new and interesting part, but it is happening outside of the regulated ecosystem. Right. And I always like to say, I'm not an economist, I'm an economic historian, and I think that is a distortion of the system, and it tells me that
Did he just say, I'm not an economist, I'm a historian? You have a history guy running the Treasury of the United States. The first part of the gibberish, I didn't even know what the fuck he was saying. The ecosystems and that. I was listening to this thing's about 17 minutes long, and I listened. I didn't understand a word he said. Total Keynesian, total idiot. And then he says, I'm not an economist. So why would you want, this is the problem with government. Why would you want a guy running your treasury who's not an economist? Not only that, why would you want a guy who is a Keynesian running it? Because we already know Keynesians don't work. So it's sort of like taking an NFL coach who sucks, like the Bears coach who sucked, and making him your coach. But he's already proven he can't coach. So this guy's saying, I'm not an economist. Why the fuck is he running your treasury? He's a historian. He's not even like he said, well, I got a master's in finance or anything like that. He's not an economist. Everything else he said was gibberish. I don't mean to change the subject, but when I saw that, I had to say, this is like a football team. You have an idiot coach or an idiot GM, you never win. You have an idiot running your treasury. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to solve the debt crisis? He doesn't understand what a tariff is. And the same thing with that Davis Hansen guy doesn't understand anything about a depression or tariffs or anything. He says, well, in 1929, the stock market crashed before the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. The stock market crash is not the depression. That's the stock market crashing. The depression is the economy going down. That's what the depression is, that there's no economy. There's no market. China's going through that now. Nobody can buy anything in China. Their market's ridiculous. This guy is a fucking idiot. I'm not an economist. Then why are you running the treasury? I mean, that's all I can say is This is the problem we have now. You have guys, you have managers in baseball that it's all analytics. You have managers in football. Well, I don't know how to manage, how to coach. You know, it says it's 4th and 2. I should go for it because 51% of the time we get it. So let's go for it. Well, I might as well have a monkey running coaching because the guy coaching doesn't have a fucking clue what he's doing. And this guy doesn't have a fucking clue what he's doing. He's collapsing us now because he worked for George Soros. You question George Soros. This guy, I don't know. He sounds like one of these teachers who's really smart, but he comes across smart, but he doesn't know anything and he can't explain it. And if you listen to his little chat here, he talks about this, that, and the other. It's like, what the fuck is he talking about? I don't want to waste our time listening to this moron, but this is the problem. So how safe do you feel here? You better buy gold and silver. I mean, I'm gonna go figure out a way to buy more gold and silver because this guy's absolutely, it's insane. So you've got to be careful. This is why you can't trust the government. We are in a depression. It's terrible. The only out is gold and silver. And they even talk about there's no way out of the debt. And there is. The way out of the debt, the 37 trillion is gold or Rolexes or Picassos. That's your way out. Our real assets that have gone up in value are the way out of the 37 trillion. You can't get out of the 37 trillion with this because this has no value. This only has a value when it's backed by gold and silver. Otherwise, this has no value. It's a piece of paper. This only has a value because somebody will pay for a Mario Lemieux rookie card. Otherwise, it has no value. Now, I know these at the trade shows, they go, well, it's just cardboard. Well, it's not a matter if it's cardboard. It's cardboard of Lemieux. And it's cardboard of Lemieux, plus but there's demand for Lemieux. So as long as there's demand for Lemieux, there is, or like Hank Aaron or like the Eisenman, because there's demand for Hank Aaron, even though it's cardboard, it's, what the fuck do you think this picture is right here, right? This is a poster, but if it was a real picture of a Van Gogh, it's just cardboard and paint, but it's demand for who did it. It's demand because it's Hank Aaron. That's the point. But when you get straight down to it, this is worthless. This is a piece of fucking paper. That's why I bitch about Bitcoin. You can't even show me a Bitcoin. You can't describe it, and it's not a coin. It's a bit. It's a fucking piece of computer that it's dots and dashes. How does it have a value? People buy it. Do people buy it, or is it just derivatives? The Russian mafia and Larry Fink, who is the American mafia, I guess, and Michael Saylor are the ones buying it. That's it. Nobody else in their right mind would be buying Bitcoin because it's not real. So it's a Ponzi scheme, just like OneCoin was. When that they stole billions of dollars from people, and then the woman said, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's not real. I don't have any OneCoins." Any of those digital things are not real. You're just losing money. But this is the point. So the only way out of debt is that this card turns into 37 trillion and then you sell it to pay the debt off. Or you get a bunch of gold and you sell it to pay the debt off because the value of the gold, you could make gold go to 100,000 and get enough that you got 37 trillion and pay off your debt. That's the only way out of it. You can't use this to pay the debt off because this has no value. Or this. You can't use the euro to pay off the debt because they're printing it too. And then amazing is the Keynesians who are running these governments sit there and think they're okay. Well, we could make the euro the second reserve currency. And I wonder, do you even need a reserve currency? Why do you need a reserve currency? You don't need one. Each country has their own. And as long as you can trade amongst different countries, you don't need a reserve currency. There's no law in economics that says you need a reserve currency. In the US, it's just because you have to trade your Swiss francs for British pounds that you need the US dollar to do it. It's the only reason. But do you really need the U.S. dollar? Which, by the way, is not worth anything. So anyway, that's what you have. So I just wanted to touch point. I know it's been a long class and mostly on the draft and baseball. So again, let's go through baseball. Huge day. The Yankees, 2 units. The Mets under 8, 3 units. Detroit, 2 units. Houston under 7.5, 2 units. Milwaukee, 2 units. Texas, 2 units. Atlanta under 8.5, 2 units. San Diego over 8.5, 2 units. Toronto, game 2, 2 units. And Philly tonight over 8, 3 units. Love Philly Cubs over. That's that. Basketball. We took what did we take? In the NBA, we took the Knicks are up 37-26. I think we took the Pistons to go 2-2. We're taking the Lakers plus 2.5, although we don't really like it. We're taking Celtics are up 2-1. Orlando, but we don't really like that. And then the real game is Milwaukee. That's your game. They're down 2-1. That should be your bet. Orlando, it's tough. Boston's so much better, and they're only laying 7.5. LA, the Lakers. Okay, a little of the Lakers because they're down 2. They must win. So the Lakers must win. Orlando must win. And Detroit must win. Detroit's down 37-26. And that's the bottom line. So the draft, keep in mind, the Mets are up 5-0 in the first inning. Oh, and we're under 8. Yeah, we got problems there. Toronto 1-0 over the Yankees, so they are playing 4:20. Oh, this is yesterday. Okay. I love when you bet the under and it's 5-0, and then the game ends 6-1. I love that. I love that in baseball. All of a sudden, nothing happens. All right, so that's what's going on. This Scott Bissett's an idiot. He's not an economist. What the fuck is he doing as the Treasury Secretary of a country? Why? What possessed you to put him in that? See, this is the problem with government. This guy needs to be, he needs to have the skill set to run it. I could run it, but I'm an economist. A non-economist cannot run it. It's like I go to these companies and I work like at Tenneco. And you've got idiots in charge. You've got idiots, CFOs. My boss was an idiot. You got the wrong people running it. But why do you choose them? Because they're your friend, or because they're, different color, or different gender. We gotta have DEI. We've got to, hire somebody who, not based on their skill, but based on their skin or their gender. So it's ridiculous, and that's the problem I think you have here. This Scott Bissett is an idiot. So what you do is, okay, this is what we're stuck with now. What can I do? And you run and buy gold and silver because the dollar's ruined. It's gone. And there's nothing this guy's going to do because he doesn't know what he's doing anyway to figure it out. But you have me, and I know what to do is you buy gold and silver because they can't print it. They can't fuck it. And it just goes up and up in price. And that's why you buy it. Just like I'm telling you to buy this. Same reason. This is, especially PSA 9, PSA 10. It's very limited and there's high demand. So the biggest key that you need to know is things that are very limited and very highly demanded. A nice Mickey Mantle card. Then that's what you buy because they being limited and in demand makes a high price. And I'll show you with that. We will go to eBay. And in my watch list, I put a Mantle card. All right, so here's a Mickey Mantle rookie, PSA 4, 140,000. PSA 4. This is a Mantle rookie. Looks like it's in pretty bad shape. So if you are at a trade show and you can see this card and it's kind of in bad shape, but you think you can get a 4 for it, and you can get it for $1,000, I think I'd recommend buying it for $1,000. The dealer won't know what he's got. He'll just see a Mantle rookie, but he'll know it's the condition's bad. A fucking 4 is 140,000. Keep in mind of the counterfeit silver, again, 1999. This is obviously counterfeit. Do not, if it should be $40, you're not getting a deal at 1999. You're not getting real silver, you're getting fake silver. And then there was another Mantle card. Here's the Rolex ended at 513,000 for the Daytona. Where's my other Mantle card? I had more than one. Oh, here you go. So here's a Mantle rookie. This is a PSA 1. It's wrinkled all over, 55,000. And I guarantee you at a card show, if you saw this card and it's still put together, even though it's wrinkled, it's got a lot of creases in it. $55,000. Now I guarantee you at a card show, what's you gonna ask? $1,000? $2,000? Just fucking buy it, get it graded. $55,000. It's a steal. That's how you have to think. Here's another Rolex, 820,000. See, if you just bought some of these Trumps, you could pay off the debt with Rolexes, 820,000. So just go buy 100 of them and then you could pay off the debt. Here's the Tom Brady. They only made 10 of these, $4 million. It's a PSA 10, count 10. So you only made 10. And this is a PSA 10 of this, right? So PSA 10, you only made 10. A 2000 Dunros Elite. I never saw this card, which why would I? They only made 10 of them. $4 million. This guy's been out there for a while. 4 million, 7 million, 6 million. He's all over the place for some reason. Just leave it at 5 million and you know, somebody with 5 million can buy it. Michael Jordan rookie card, $500,000. So if you get a chance, any Mantle card, and you can get it for $1,000, even if it's, as long as it's still together and you can get a PSA 1 on it, fucking buy it and go get it graded. Even if it's a 1, you don't care. And you got 50,000. And there's no way a dealer's selling that for 50,000 because they'll look at Beckett and they'll see a couple $1,000 and that's it. I mean, maybe 10. I don't know what it is in Beckett. I don't watch it. But that's the point. A Mantle rookie, a Mays rookie, a Koufax rookie, you know, a Lou Gehrig card, a Joe DiMaggio, a Babe Ruth. I have a Babe Ruth here, 33,000. I think it's first page. I'm confused by this card, Pavel Datsyuk, and I have this card. That's why it's up there, I think. And it's not graded, and it's getting $384. I'm like, it's not even graded, really? All right, here's a Babe Ruth. 1933 Gaudi. Now, remember, we weren't in the war yet. This was candy or something. 33,000. And this is not even graded. It's just authentic. It's basically saying, yes, this is a real card. It's not even a PSA 1. It's been trimmed. So they trimmed off the side here, it looks like. So this is a trim card, authentic, and he wants 33,000. I don't know if he'll get it because people don't like trim cards. Anyway, that's what we've got. And that's it. So the draft, some teams maybe I think what you can think is maybe you get 1 to 3 players that actually make your team and actually play. Maybe 1 or 2 of your players actually play. And again, it depends. On Philadelphia, ain't nobody playing. Probably not Kansas City because a lot of them are defense. They'll be backups. San Francisco, okay. Guys like Gentry and Scadaboo will play because it's such a needed position, and you're going to shit like the Giants have no offense at all. So Scadaboo is a good fit there. But guys going to Philadelphia, Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, they're not even gonna. Buffalo got all these defensive players. They're not gonna make the field because the guys that they have already aren't going anywhere. They're not gonna lose their jobs to these guys. That's why the veterans are there. They're tough. They know the system. They're not about to lose their job to these new guys. So be careful of that. Oakland, I don't know what they're doing with these quarterbacks are 5 years away from Montana and North Dakota State. Geno Smith is 5 years away from being a starter, from being a professional. So Oakland's going to struggle with Gentry. I mean, they're going to struggle with Smith. You got Brock Bowers and Gentry. It should be, they could be good. I think Atlanta's a surprise team. Pittsburgh will be very good. I think Pittsburgh's guys will play a little bit, especially the running back and the quarterback. They don't have one. The Jets don't have a quarter. I mean, they don't have anybody. So then you get into the problem where you're playing a guy who just sucks, who's a minor leaguer. And that's why these teams suck when they do that. Kirk Cousins, Caleb, these guys aren't pros. So that's why you got to be careful betting them because they're not pro. Lamar's not a pro. Oh, he's a good runner. Yeah. And let's see, he blew the Cleveland game with a 10-point lead, and he blew the Raider game with a 10-point lead. Yeah. You want to bet on Lamar? Be my guest. It's about making money, and he's not making you money. He has a few good games. But then he has a few bad games, and you don't know what you're going to get. The good game, the bad game, the game he blows the lead in the fourth quarter. Who do I got? He's not a good quarter. You can't read a defense. Anyway. All right, with that, I'm going to let you go. I think I'm going to finish my Chinese, and I got to get to the pool by 3 o'clock, so I got 45 minutes to relax. If you're watching basketball or baseball, enjoy. I won't watch any more of this idiot. The Treasury Secretary is a fucking moron. Nice going, Trump. What are you thinking, man? What are you bringing this guy aboard? And he's not an economist. Oh, my God. Well, it could be worse. It could be a Keynesian, and then I'll be fucked. Oh, wait, we are already fucked. Okay, everybody. Well, have a good day. And I'll do probably tomorrow, I'll do an NFC draft and an AFC draft I usually do that. Then we go back 3 years ago and I show you how this quarterback I had picked good. Like last year, I picked Daniels and I picked Penix to be better than the other clowns. And I do not include Drake May as a good quarterback. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Good day. Take care. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy your sports. Enjoy your Sunday. Take care, everybody. All right. Buy your gold and silver or you're fucked. All right. Take care.